Again, on the ball, so they see a good look. They're not just going to run up the field like that. Open up now. Now who would you have? So it doesn't change you guys inside, right? You got to go. You got to go. That guy goes underneath. You got him.
How would I describe myself at practice? It varies.
Get your butt in the A-gap. Go down with him. He's lining up on the line of scrimmage and going.
We try and have a high-intensity, fast-paced practice. We hold our guys accountable.
If the back's over here, go make the tackle. There's no one up on you. Block. Block right here. They're not going to let the guy get decapitated.
Pelini wired earlier this season. Moments ago, Aaron Andrews caught up with Missouri head coach Gary Pinkel.
All right, thanks. Coach, thanks for inviting us, and thanks for the weather as well. How does tonight's rain affect your game plan?
I really don't. I don't think it will at all. You know, we've always caught the ball well. There's no excuses. It's all about fundamentals. I think wind is a little bit different issue, and that affects kicking game. That might affect throwing the ball downfield a little bit. But, you know, for the most part, we're just going to run our game plan. You told us yesterday you haven't had much rain, so not much experience in it. What have you told your quarterback, Blaine Gabbert, about dealing with this? Well, you know, I just, I'm not telling him anything. Just go out and throw. You know, all those guys, you know, they are used to every type of environment there is. And in the spring, we were in rain a lot, so they did fine. So we'll just come out and play. All right, Coach. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Mizzou will have to deal with the Black Shirts. They lead the nation in scoring defense. One of the most exciting guys from that unit. And Ndamukong Suh, kickoff between Mizzou and Nebraska. Just over 10 minutes away here on ESPN. The Big 12 South gets all the pub, but tonight, this is all about the Big 12 North. When you talk about Nebraska and Missouri, when you see the Black Shirts, Bo Pelini's already made an immediate impact.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. They're playing great on defense. But remember this, if it wasn't for a 70-yard pass with about 20 seconds to go, they'd be undefeated in the top 10 in the country.
And you mentioned defensive lineman Ndamukong Suh. He's been spectacular this season. He's probably going to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft, but he leads the team in sacks, leads the team in tackle for losses, leads the team in pass breakups as a defensive lineman. He's all over the field, and he's just been amazing, and you have to double team him. He's one of those players that if you don't double team him, he will get to the quarterback, and he will be an impact player in this game.
And what a change for the Nebraska defense.
Yes, and he's very exciting to watch, and you guys get it coming up next. Chris Fowler, Jesse Palmer, and Craig James on the call.
Kevin, thank you. Challenging conditions here in Columbia tonight. It's been raining all day. The students don't care, even though we had a power outage earlier on campus. Many thought it'd be a downhill slide for Mizzou with Chase Daniel not here. Not so far, because Blaine Gabbert, his replacement, has been superb at quarterback. There's Mr. Suh, and that Nebraska defense determined tonight to reverse the fortunes in the recent years of this rivalry. Mizzou trying to protect home turf and beat Nebraska here for a 4th straight time. Tigers and Huskers coming up. Welcome to ESPN's College Football Primetime, presented by Applebee's. Which team will be able to handle these conditions tonight and get a leg up in the race for the North Division Championship in the Big 12? Number 21, Nebraska, and number 24, Missouri. Border rivals, and this is a rivalry that's certainly heated up in recent years because Mizzou has taken it to the Huskers 2 straight years. Chris, Greg, Jesse, Aaron will join us from a soggy field in just a second. Let's face it, Nebraska's defense has been embarrassed, undressed the last couple of years, beaten by 35 points. It's a quietly determined defense coming in here tonight, Craig.
And when you talk to Bo Pelini, their head coach, he's talking about getting this team back to where they used to be defensively. You know, and until Nebraska gets the defense back, those Black Shirts back, it doesn't matter what they do on offense. And I really believe this program this year is coming a long ways. I look forward to watching them tonight against an offense that is pretty good and talented, but it's the Black Shirts defense. Are they back?
Well, it's a great challenge, Craig, really. And we talked to some of those players. They said they're not going to try to get crazy with schemes tonight against Missouri. They're going to challenge their skill players on offense to beat them. But when you talk about Nebraska defense, you're talking really about one guy, defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh. He is a monster, and he does everything you ask. makes tackles in the backfield, gets after the quarterback, intercepts passes, and takes them all the way to the house. He's the guy that Missouri has to account for on each and every snap if they expect to have any success tonight running the football.
You can't just focus on him because he's got talented guys around him on that defensive line. It'll be a challenge for both quarterbacks tonight, especially with the rain. 2 first-year starters. Zach Lee, transfer from San Francisco City College here, didn't play well in his previous road challenge at Virginia Tech. And Gabbard, who's filled in so well for Daniel, hasn't thrown a pick yet in his career.
Yeah, but the thing I like about Zach Lee, at least he's been on the road once. He's been in that hostile environment.
He didn't play well, though.
He did not. That's okay, though. He played at Virginia Tech, and it gave him some experience. And you know what it's like. You know, he's been there, he's done there, he's seen it. But he's got a ground game behind him with Roy Halou that can run the football. And that's going to help him in these bad conditions.
Well, Craig, what about Blaine Gabbert, the quarterback for Missouri? He's the most efficient quarterback in the entire conference. And that's saying something because Colt McCoy, Sam Bradford, Zach Robinson, Todd Reesing, these guys all play there. He has all the physical tools in the world. But this is by far the best defense he's seen so far this year.
Gabbert and the Tigers taking the field. The crowd dressed all in gold. Can they protect home turf, or will Nebraska come in here and beat the Tigers? Kickoff coming up. So KISS getting you ready for this crucial contest in the Big 12 North. Number 21 Nebraska and number 24 Missouri. Talked about the weather. It's been raining all day. They thought it might move through. So far that hasn't happened. And chilly, raw night down there in the field is Aaron Andrews with Husker coach Bo Pelini.
Thanks, Chris. And Coach, you said, I want it to rain tonight. You got it. How does this help you?
Well, you know, you just manage it. You execute your football. Both teams are playing on the same field. It's mind over matter in situations like this, and it's whoever executes between the white lines is going to win the football game.
Several of your players said Missouri's fast start the past 2 years has hurt them. What's key in preventing that early?
Well, it's a 60-minute game. Whatever happens early happens, but it's about executing over a 60-minute, 4-quarter game, and our football team's ready to play. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Aaron.
All right, Chris.
Aaron, thanks. Second year for Pelini at Nebraska. 9 years of experience as an NFL assistant. LSU defensive coordinator before he got here. Like Bo, Pinkel is an Ohio native. His 9th season in the 8 previous years. Bowls 5 of them. 5 of the last 6 years, in fact, here at Missouri. How would his team do minus the stars? Daniel, Kaufman, Macklin. So far, 4-0. Nebraska won the toss, deferred to the second half. So, Adi Canonical booted away. He's good at getting kicks into the end zone. This one in the middle of the end zone, and Jasper Simmons will leave it there. So Blaine Gabbert, as Jesse said earlier, originally committed to Nebraska. He's a Missouri native, and no picks so far. It'll happen sooner or later, but ball handling the conditions tonight, tough, Jesse.
It's huge tonight. You really need to secure the snap in the shotgun, under center, belly the ball in the running game as well.
Derek Washington, second team all Big 12 a year ago, 1,000-yard rusher. Moves to the right of Gabbert. Jones, the tight end, in motion. Gabbert fires over the middle, complete. Pick up about 8 yards, and that is Denario Alexander, his top receiver and one of the impact players tonight.
Yeah, and Derek Washington had 17 rushing touchdowns a year ago. He was all conference then, but he's gotten off to a slow start. They got to get him going.
Well, this guy here was injured, and before his injury was ahead of Jeremy Macklin, a first-rounder. That says a lot.
Sean Witherspoon, the Butkus finalist from a year ago, will be seen when the Huskers have the football. Missouri plays quickly. They're up to the line on 2nd and 3. Devin Moore. They fake it to him. Gabbert dancing around and gets the corner, and the big guy showing some elusiveness. He's known for straight line speed, not for shiftiness, but a nice run.
Yeah, we don't want to get carried away on the shiftiness now.
I said he wasn't known for shiftiness.
It did look like Barry Sanders bouncing around back there, but he does have some moves on him. And I think, Jesse, the fact you're going to see an aggressive, fast Nebraska defense to the ball, backside might be an opportunity.
Watch this tempo. Here comes Missouri playing very fast.
that may not be a factor, but the play clock is out as part of the Jumbotron scoreboard. When they had the power outage earlier, they'll keep it on the field, but Missouri rarely uses the full time anyway. This is another catch by Alexander, but he cuts it back and only a short game.
It's interesting, you know, we talked to offensive coordinator David Yost, and he said offensively they're actually playing faster than they were a year ago.
And no, we can't see the play clock on this end of the field. They want to snap the ball with 15 seconds left to go. That gives you an idea of their mindset of how confident they are that they can put pressure on Nebraska.
Alexander got 4 with his second catch. They hand it off to Washington. Sidesteps a tackler and dimes forward. It'll be 3rd and short.
The running game is going to be key tonight for Missouri. They've struggled up to this point so far, but again, offensive coordinator Todd Yost told us they're going to explode off the ball and really try to move the line of scrimmage against Nebraska.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the splits. You know, this Missouri offensive line has really tightened up from what they had done last year. They said they might split out a little wider again tonight. We'll see how that impacts the D-line.
We'll see if Gabbard's throwing on 3rd and 2. In this offense, you can kind of go either way in this down and distance. And they give it to Washington, right side, and he cuts in one of those running lanes created by the wide splits. And he gets a first down across midfield.
A lot of motion, a lot of movement. You're going to see the left side of the line. They'll pull and they'll come around. Watch how they come in. They give you that direction. And Washington follows in behind them.
And I like the play calling in the bad weather. Running plays and short passes.
Empty backfield as Washington moves to the slot on first down. Gabbard fires to the right. Too high. Off the hands of the receiver. And it's Jared Perry, senior.
You get the feeling this will be one of those games when quarterbacks are throwing downfield. You got to aim for numbers and body catches. Anything by the face mask or above the head in this wet weather, those go through those gloves pretty easy.
Gabbard hasn't had a lot of fast starts this year. Very keyed-up guy. It's often taken him a little bit of time to get into the rhythm, but pretty impressive opening possession for the sophomore so far. They fake the handoff. Gabbard drifting way back. Gets pressured. That's Big Sue chasing him, and he's got to throw it away. You can see the quickness of the 300-pounder, and now a flag downfield in the Nebraska secondary.
Boy, oh boy, you see the speed. Isn't that amazing for a guy that's 300 pounds plus to get off the ball as fast as he does?
He's all over the field.
Do it all defensive tackle. You don't see many defensive tackles leading their team in tackles after 4 games.
How about pass broken up? He bats balls down. Leads them there almost.
You don't have the microphone. That's one of the casualties here tonight.
It's like pass interference on the offense.
Pass interference on the offense, number 81. 15-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Now they fixed it. My apologies. The mic is working. So a penalty on the Tigers will move all the way back inside their 35-yard line.
You know what, a broken play. And again, Mr. Sue on the defensive line, 93. As we've talked about here, there are very few players that you've seen in college football that can dominate an opponent like he can.
And he has his work cut out for him tonight. We've talked about those big splits Missouri's using up front. He's got a long way to run to get to the football, but he certainly is athletic enough to get that done.
They got a long way to go. 2nd and 25. Empty backfield. Again, Washington was in the slot. Now he motions into the backfield. Gabbard pumps, throws deep down the sidelines, and overthrown. Perry well covered there by Mukamara. Try Mukamara.
Yeah, that's it. We'll leave those to you.
Get some good names
Absolutely.
tonight.
Hey, dude, Nebraska's got some good ones.
We'll get them in there tonight. You know what? We were coming over in a cart trying to avoid the rain up to the booth. And offensive coordinator Yost, we saw him. We said, hey, you better do some pump and goes. You better loosen him up.
He was listening to you.
3rd and 25. Gabbard pressured. Again, Sue was in there quickly, and he just throws it away. So the crucial offensive pass interference ruins the drive, and Missouri will punt.
If Nebraska can put pressure on the quarterback tonight with only 4 men rushing, it will be a difficult night for Missouri.
Defensive coordinator Carl Pelini told us that last year they didn't really appreciate how good they were up front on the D-line, but they now know they can get pressure with 4 guys and leave a lot of guys back in coverage.
Jake Carey, the 4th, a very good punter. They use the shield punt, they call it, kind of the rugby punt. He'll boot it on the run. Boots it left-footed. A low kick, tough conditions to field punts tonight. And They give it a wide berth there. Niles Paul wants no part of it, and they down it at the 20. 46 yards, no return. So here comes the Nebraska offense. And Zach Lee, the junior, the son of former NFL quarterback Bob Lee.
The guy who played 12 years in the league. And Zach Lee, against 3 Sun Belt Conference opponents this year, has been lights out. But he really struggled a few weeks ago on the road at Virginia Tech.
At home, 76% of his passes completed. So we'll see what he can do on the road and in the rain.
He got here via City College of San Francisco, where Jeremiah Masoli, the Oregon quarterback, was also in the roster at the same time. Roy Halou Jr. in kind of the pistol formation. He's got the ball. And Nebraska's fine tailback finds some room on the left side. Joel Harrison brought him down, but a nice gain.
It's going to be a different look offense from Nebraska tonight. They're a lot more balanced. They'll try to establish the run in a lot more conventional way.
It's a very deliberate draw, kind of a draw deal there, where the linemen come out and they find their backs. Now you see that Halou will not wait on a defender to come get him, right? When he sees an opening, he's gone.
He ran right through that Hokie defense for 169 yards, averaging 6.4 carries this season. And this time they're all over him. A loss. Jasper Simmons, the safety, came flying up.
You're seeing Zach Lee at the line of scrimmage. They're going to be doing a lot of audibling tonight, changing the direction of the run plays. With this noise, that's something Zach Lee has to be ready to deal with.
Simmons wasn't going to let him run away that time, was he? He wouldn't got him. You know, when you talk about coming from the right side of your screen, they're getting up in the hole now. That lane, that's the running lane for the back. You're going to meet him there, so don't wait on him to get to you.
Nutcases began lining up about 2 o'clock this afternoon in the rain to get those front row seats. Trying to make it loud on the Huskers on 2nd and 13. Lee over the middle in traffic. Tried to force the ball in there to Mike McNeil, the tight end. One of the top receivers on this team, but well covered by the lineman, Joel Harrison there.
Yeah, we've talked about Nebraska's defense coming into this game, right? Not much mention about Missouri's defense.
Not at all, right? They're looking to prove themselves as well. They may not have been necessarily tested yet by a great offense. Nevada certainly does good things on their side of the ball, but this is a chance for Missouri's D to make a big statement.
Yeah, they really underachieved last year, but a lot of experienced guys back. 10 starters back last year, didn't play well. A lot of new faces this year. 3rd and 13. Lee steps up, starts scampering, gets near the line of scrimmage, and fires incomplete on the sidelines. Niles Paul was the intended receiver, and Missouri's defense holds.
Like Nebraska's defense on 3rd and long, Missouri's got it done with a little crossing stunt in the middle of the field and only 4 rushing, allowing a lot into coverage.
Alex Henry, fine kicker and punter. And Carl Geddes is deep for the Tigers. Huskers have to run a man out late. Only had 10 on the field. It's a fake. Nope, it's just a snap that he had to make a run to field, and he boots it up the side of his foot and out of bounds. So Henry went to his right. I thought he was going to take off running.
There's a team that was number 2 in net punting in the country coming into today. Not a great start tonight.
That was just an off-target snap and a shank pump. Missouri will have the ball near midfield. Missouri trying to beat Nebraska for a 3rd straight year. Haven't done that since 1969. The 22-yard punt by Henry sets up Missouri at the 48 for their 2nd possession. Empty backfield. Go to the far side. Catch made by Alexander, and he knifes ahead. So the senior's been busy. 3rd catch already.
Here's a look at the old punt. Here's the tackle box. These 2 lines you see drawn right there. When the punter gets outside of that, he's no longer protected. If he gets tackled or hit, it is not a penalty.
I think he was caught off guard. That wasn't one of those planned rollouts.
Well, the snap was, though. I mean, the snap took him over there, outside the tackle box.
That's what I mean. Gabbert fires low. It's caught for a short gain. Alexander came in with 29 catches, already 4 tonight. Coming off the monster game against Nevada. 9 catches in that game, a 74-yard touchdown that put him ahead. Quick snap, Washington running right, trying to get the corner. Does, lowers his head and picks up about 7.
You're seeing Missouri right now use what they call super tempo. It's even faster than normal. They line up in the same formation each and every play and try to get an extra beat on the D.
Well, you're seeing Super Washington running the football, too, who last year had 139 yards and 2 touchdowns against Nebraska. So he's been there, done that. He's gotten after him pretty good and starting off strong tonight.
When they go to the far hash away from the Huskers bench, they cannot make any defensive substitutions. Devin Moore is in the game to give Washington a rest. Gabbert fires, delivers a strike for a first down. You can see the arm strength, and he's having no trouble throwing the wet football so far.
He's going to have to be careful because they're going to play what's called a lot of match zone coverages on defense where they're going to try to read those routes and squeeze on the football.
You see all of that, but I want you to also look at the pocket. Look at that pocket. Is that nice?
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, the late pitch out to Devin Moore, who went back and collected it. A flag is down as he gets inside the 20.
Holding on the offense, number 66, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And they got Austin Webbles, the left guard, a sophomore. Missouri's first drive undone by a pass interference penalty, and they'll move back here 10 yards.
And last year's win against Nebraska, 52-17 shellacking. Missouri did everything right early. They only had 1 penalty the entire game. They already have 2 tonight.
Totally controlled Nebraska's offense. Ran for 201 yards. It was the worst home loss in 54 years for the Huskers a year ago in Lincoln. So 1st and 20 after the penalty. Gabbert loses the handle. That's what we said, that the smallest little thing, take your eye off the ball for a second, Jesse, and the wet ball comes into play.
You really cannot take it for granted. You have to be so fundamentally sound in all the little things. You got to eyeball the football in as you catch it. It's the little things that make the difference in these bad weather games.
So a promising Missouri drive. Moving backwards now. 2nd and 24 as they try to keep that football dry over there. It's going to be an uphill battle tonight. There's another penalty rushing in.
Defense number 99.
It's Barry Turner. He thought he was induced.
5-yard penalty, second down.
Missouri hasn't practiced in the rain. They have an indoor facility. And, you know, they would go inside when there was lightning, but they really haven't had many wet weather practice days.
It doesn't look like it's affected them here tonight. I mean, they've come out throwing the ball well and executing their offense.
It's back to 2nd and 19. Gabbert with a freeze option look. Searching for a receiver and running out of time. Sue tracks him down, ball's loose, and the Huskers have it. And Gabbert down on the field. Gabbert appears to be injured, and he'll limp to the sidelines after the fumble. Jared Crick recovered it. Sue once again shows his quickness.
The one thing that the offensive lineman of Missouri said that they respected about Mr. Sue so much was that he played throughout the play. He never stops. He's got an engine that is always pursuing the quarterback.
Ndamukong Suh told his defensive backs this week, give us just a little more time with coverage, and we're going to get after this quarterback. There was unbelievable coverage downfield on that play, and that allowed the relentless Mr. Sue to get after
That's a thing of beauty, that play, how he just kept working and forces the fumble. His buddy Crick, the other defensive tackle, who gets overshadowed, but he's also very good. He makes the recovery, and Lee and the Huskers take over at the 46 and hand it to Helou. And he tries the left side for a short gain.
Craig, you were saying earlier you're watching Helou warm up. He reminds you of another very famous running back that's played here at Nebraska.
And you know what? Mike Rozier was a great player, and the way that they both run behind their pads, and they've got that burst, and right before contact's made, Rozier had this special thing about him. He would accelerate into the fire or strike zone. He would hit the guy before they hit him.
Give the blow instead of take it.
Yeah.
Rozier came from Jersey. Roy comes from California, said he hated Nebraska when he first went there on his recruiting visit. It was the least likely place. But his mom convinced him. changed his mind. And there's a completion on the sidelines and a flag. Kerensky Gilliland caught the ball. Now we'll check the marker. Jasper Simmons shoved him out. Signaling holding.
Holding on the offense, number 24. 10-yard penalty, second down.
As Niles Paul, the receiver, blocking downfield, wipes out the first down gain.
I like the thought from offensive coordinator Sean Watson trying to get his speed players the football early. Kerensky Gilliland, probably the fastest guy on this Nebraska offense, but those penalties, they'll kill you and move you back.
Good, both teams so far. And you see Jimmy Costello, the sophomore, has gotten into some of these blowouts from Mizzou in mop-up duty in case Gabbert can't continue. Tigers show pressure and bring it up the middle as Lee fires and complete. Gilliland, the sophomore from Texas, makes the catch. Near first down yardage to the 49 of Mizzou.
Yeah, you know what? Missouri decides to come. They put the pressure on the inside. Nice job picking up. Route down the field.
Well, Missouri is going to try to pressure Zach Lee tonight. They haven't had a lot of pressure all year long, but right there, great job with the protection, allowing their quarterback to look downfield and deliver the strike.
Gilliland is a big play receiver. He's had a 35-plus completion in each game. That one a modest game, but he's got a first down. Hello motions back to the backfield, an option look. Lee keeps it and gets hammered inside the 45. Hardy Ricks, the safety, came up and popped him. Smile from Lee there. Yeah. That's an option there. He said, let's do that more often, Coach. Smooth. He took a shot right to the chest.
On the inside, I don't know if he's really smiling. He's faking it good.
The two-back look is the talented true freshman from Plano, Texas, Rex Burkhead, is to the right of Lee. Lee escapes, now circles back, goes behind the line of scrimmage and throws incomplete. He had crossed the line, I thought, and came back.
And linemen were not down the field. Very smart. Nice job staying disciplined there.
It's strange he didn't keep running. He would have gotten very near first down yardage.
Zach Lee really struggled against Virginia Tech a few weeks back, and he said before that game he was really jacked up. It looks like tonight so far he's playing a little bit more within himself, playing within the system.
Nebraska, 47% team on third down so far this season. That's pretty good. They need 5 yards here. Option look. This is Burkhead, the freshman. And Rex Burkhead breaks into the secondary and has a first down at the 30. Pretty good receiver. Talented guy from your neck of the woods, Craig. Plano.
Yep, absolutely. Watch this guy a long time. Look at the decision. First of all, how about Zach Lee getting him in that call? Moved him over so they could run the option.
How about the shot Zach Lee took from Brian Coulter there? He paid the price, held the football till the very last possible moment, allowing his running back to get outside.
Yeah, Chris, watch this guy for a long time. He's a very gifted, multifaceted player.
I think he's got a big future here at Nebraska. Burkhead got 14 yards on that one. They fake it to him. Lee fires behind his receiver, Gilliland, and a flag is down.
Sloppy weather, already a lot of sloppy play.
Personal foul, legal shot block on the offense. From 74, 15-yard penalty, first down.
It's the guard, Ricky Henry. Both teams really hurting themselves with the flag so far. And Lee, some inaccurate throws in the wet weather.
They're trying to move him out of the pocket. He's had a lot of throws on the run so far. Again, accuracy so critical. Allowing your receivers catchable passes.
I always felt like in a rainy game like this, the ball started out okay, but then the more you played, the wetter your body got. It just seemed to get heavier. It just got worse.
Your body or the ball?
Both.
Everything.
They were all together.
Shoes, cleats, gloves.
First and 25. Niles Paul in motion. They give it to Hello, and he doesn't get much. ABC's Saturday Night Football features a Big Ten battle. Undefeated Iowa still with a point to prove, but ranked up at number 12 against the Michigan Wolverines. 8 o'clock Eastern time, presented by Southwest Airlines. How do you see that one?
Iowa's a tricky team for me to figure out because, they beat Northern Iowa by a point in the first week. They beat Arkansas State by 3 points last week. They look good against Penn State, though.
It's Ricky Stanzi. You know what? You see his numbers and what he's done. Can he match Tate Forcier, the true freshman? That'll be a good matchup. Iowa is a heck of a football team.
It's got to come down to the final play, right? Doesn't it with Forcier every week? And 2nd and 22. Lee, pressure, ball loose. There's a pile at midfield, and looks like Lee fell on the ball. Gatchkar came around, the linebacker on the blitz knocked it free.
Number 65, Mike Smith, the left tackle. You know what? These guys, they've got to get back. You got to really set back. A former defensive end, he knows you've got to get back against speed.
That was a fumble, hand not coming forward. Alert play by Lee to fall in.
That's what coaches love to see from their defensive ends. Not just try to make the tackle, but if you have an opportunity to swipe the ball away, take it away.
What do you got on 3rd and 29, Coach?
Not much.
B for K.
Tigers rush 4, and Lee still doesn't have a lot of time. Fires short. Paul makes the catch, takes a hit at the 40. Way short of a first down. Luke Lambert on the stop.
They don't convert the first down, but a nice job by Zach Lee to take what's given to him, to move the chains. Now they get a chance to punt and pin this team deep.
You see what they did as a football team. They saw they had their defense that gets the turnover, and now the offense will at least pin them back a little bit, boys. So, yeah, but you know what? That's helmet to helmet. That's where the
Don't
runner
lower your helmet,
lowered
Mr.
his
Paul.
head. Absolutely.
What are you doing?
Don't do that.
See if Henry can pin the Tigers deep. One of those nights when field position might be real important. Angles it toward the sideline, but didn't do his job. Lands in the end zone. So, late first quarter in a scoreless game, Missouri will take over at the 20. It's a trophy game. They play for the Victory Bell, the second oldest rivalry in the Big 12. Decades of dominance by Nebraska. So many heartbreaking losses from Missouri between 79 and 02. The flea kicker here at 97. Nebraska won it. But it's been Mizzou the last couple years. And since the breakthrough win in 03, they've won the last 3 at home. Gabbard back in the game as they take over from the 20. And they hand it to Washington. Aaron, what was going on the Missouri sidelines after Gabbard limped off the last series?
Well, no confirmation from the Missouri training staff, but it looked like he was getting a shot of some sort. Then they brought him over to the bench, and they taped up his right ankle. And I just watched him CF after that, and he was limping a little bit, too.
They were showing the replay, and you could see that right ankle getting under the backside of 300-pound Mr. Sue. It could not have felt good. Empty backfield on 2nd and 7. Gabbard fires short. It's a screen and a loss. Big hit delivered. Gomes came up from the safety position.
You could really see that Nebraska defense schooled up very well, Jesse, and they saw the screen and beat the guards pulling out there to block.
They sure did. It'll be interesting to watch Blaine Gabbard here the next couple plays to see if he's ginger at all on that right ankle. See if he's really able to plant and drive off that right leg. See if that injury is going to affect him.
Alexander in motion on 3rd and 9. Gabbard flushed, fires short. He sets his tailback and make a play, but Washington tackled short of the first down. And when you go up tempo, it's very tough to go 3 and out. Gary Pinkel knows that as Gabbard gingerly trots off.
It doesn't look like he's full speed, does it, Craig? When you're watching him right here, we haven't really had a chance to see him drive the ball downfield to see, but ginger a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Mr. Sue pushing the offensive line back like he did there with only 4 rushers around him, you know, you got to block better up front and protect.
Nebraska had the ball for 5:20 in that previous drive, and Missouri's defense is going to have to go right back on the field here. Final minute of the first quarter. Boots it away. Pretty good kick. Be careful. The ball landed near some Nebraska blockers. Did it touch one? Yes, Missouri football. So a special teams miscue by the Huskers. And Missouri will set up inside the 35. Matthew May, number 36. The ball caught him.
think if you're on punt return, you really got to do a good job being aware of where you are in the field, watching your punt returner, and just getting away from the ball. You see the returner telling everyone to get away. Matthew May not paying attention. Costly turnover.
But yeah, got him in the foot.
It has to be decisive by that punt returner. He has to be screaming and letting his teammate know, Peter, get out of there. Move out.
Previous play is under further review.
They'll check it, but they appeared to hit May's heel. He didn't really argue about it. How did it become Peter?
And it's universal. I always wonder, why do they call it Mike, Sam, George, Henry? I don't know. They came up with Peter Stock.
What about Menelnick or Kerensky?
Please, no. We'll take a break as they review it. Replay confirms the call in the field. The ball did hit the heel of Matthew May. Andrew Gatskar was a starting linebacker down on special teams, made his second fumble recovery of the season. There, you see it right? And Gatskar alertly jumps on it. So Missouri, in the final minute of the first quarter, sets up at the Husker 32. Gabbert gives to Washington. And Washington hammers into the secondary. A flag is down in the holding zone, and that's the signal. Boy, a lot of flags on both teams
holding
tonight.
On the offense, number 71, 10-yard penalty, first down.
We've watched so far how fast this defensive line from Nebraska can run. And when Missouri has these opportunities to gash them, you can't have these penalties and move backwards.
Yeah, of course, you've got Holmgren, 71, rotating in there with Austin Webbles. And they do that so they both stay fresh and don't make mistakes like that. But when you're playing against a really strong, powerful defensive line, sometimes being outmanned gets you.
The better the D-line, the more likely you are to hold him, right?
Yeah.
Nullify that quickness. First and 20. Gabbert looks and fires left. It's incomplete. Tried to get it low to West Kemp, and he took a blow.
You know, these penalties early in drives really set you up for failure. And we've seen both teams tonight so far really struggle to move the chains because of a lot of costly penalties early.
I don't think Gary's enjoying the wet weather tonight. He's over there, arms folded, kind of scrunched down.
It's a good night to be in the booth.
Did you hear that, Aaron?
5 receivers for Gabbert, who fires high, and Perry couldn't come up with it.
Yeah, I hear that. I also heard how we were driving over. Oh, yay, the rain will stop. Game time.
I was just going by the radar.
Feeling
Sorry
good.
about that.
Feeling good.
It's a good hair night.
Boy, it's important to deliver that ball, as you said, Jesse, on the numbers. It's tough to make those hands catches.
You really got to aim for the numbers. You got to make these things body catches. Anything outside the perimeter is going to be tough.
Rush for on 3rd and 20. They still get near him, and he's dropped. That was Jared Crick, the other talented defensive tackle for the Huskers. His second sack of the season. This guy's underrated because Sue's so good.
You know what? When you're trying to block one-on-one over here on the left side, you're going to see there's the match right there, and you got to get back, got to stay square and flush. Well, that's just a miss. You know what? He messed up on his assignment, didn't he?
He sure did. But Jared Crick used to play defensive end. You see some of that speed right there, working inside, able to chase Gabbert down.
Gabbert maybe losing some ability with the ankle problem. So Missouri, at the end of the first quarter, scoreless. End of the first quarter here in a rainy, soggy Columbia. You got 2 choices in the end zone. You can sit in the grass here, a little soggy. You can risk sliding down, or go over here in those nice, hard, white rocks where it's maybe drier but can't be as comfortable.
Reminds me of the beach in the south of Santorini called Perivolo. Rocky beach.
Looks to me like the jetty, and you're fishing, waiting on the tide to come
I'll
in.
take the beach over the white rocks and the hill. Would you be a grass guy or sit on the rocks guy?
I'm grassing it, but I'd have to put a little foot in the dirt to give me a little pocket.
Missouri squandering the opportunity after that muff punt that took over at the Husker 32. That holding penalty and the sack, they move him backwards, and now punt Nebraska down to the 11. And as Gabbert continues to have that ankle worked on. Applebee's weekend menu. Big weekend in the SEC. Alabama in Oxford, Mississippi in the afternoon, and then the Gators and the Tigers with all the intrigue about Mr. Tebow in primetime. 2 good ones in the Big Ten as well.
You talked to Coach Nutt today. How's he doing at Ole Miss?
He loves this kind of situation. Told me how good Alabama is for about 5 minutes, and I said, wait a minute, Houston, you love to play the underdog. You love when nobody's giving you a chance. He says, I do. It's my kind of game. But the Tide are the favorites for a reason in that one, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Nebraska at the 11, trying to be careful. Lee keeps it, nowhere to go. Undefeateds, there are 3 of them in the Big 12. Missouri, Kansas, and Texas, of course. 6 teams ranked from this conference.
How about Bielema? Guys just under the radar doing their thing.
How about these 2? We'll see South Florida and Cincinnati a week from tonight. Tampa.
Huge matchup. Great passing offense in Cincinnati against one of the best pass defenses at USF.
2nd and 10. Here comes the crowd noise for Lee. Controls the snap, which was wide, fires low and incomplete. Boy, the Missouri DBs are squatting on those short routes.
We're going to find that you're going to see, because the receivers can't catch the ball, Jesse, they're playing in that little 5-8-yard box.
But right now, Nebraska's going to have to at least take 1 shot and just back these DBs off. You have to show them that you have the threat of throwing it downfield. If you don't, like we just saw, they're going to be squatting all over these short routes.
We saw Steck, Dave Steckel, the defensive coordinator, Les Steckel's brother.
It all starts, though, up on that offensive line. They've got to protect these quarterbacks. Here's where the game is.
Tigers bring pressure up the middle. They hit Lee, who gets it away, but overthrows his receiver, Chris Brooks. And he got popped.
Nebraska had an opportunity here. This is what's called cover 0 defensively. There's no safeties deep. But because of the pressure, Craig, he was not able to make an accurate throw.
You know, Will Ebner comes in 32-9. They just smoke Lee in the backfield. But you almost have 0 time to sit back there when you got 0 coverage.
In cover 0.
Pressure on Henry now, punting from his end zone. High snap. He's in trouble. Throws the ball out of the end zone for a safety. The little things are tough on a rainy night. And it's fitting that a safety produces the first points of the night.
Nebraska punter Alex Henry is having a very rough night. He shanked a punt earlier, and he blasted one through the end zone. He has a hard time just fielding this thing, trips over his own feet, and just tosses it out of the end zone.
Ball, yeah.
But you know what? I think the snap being a little high, that he was so concerned about catching it with the chest to back him up, that he backed up a little bit to give himself more room to get body behind the ball. And because of that, his timing was thrown off.
True freshman P.J. Mangieri is the long snapper. He's had a tough go.
Nebraska was a really good special teams coming into the day. And you know, you'll hear about that guaranteed from your head coach. And Bo Pelini can get after his guys. But
he didn't care. He's a true freshman.
Oh, but it's a team that's done well on special teams heading into this game. And that's really kind of been what's been killing them so far early.
And the muff punt and then the bad snap and the safety. And now it's a free kick. Canala will tee it up at the 20. They won't use the punt.
Now, when you look at the total yards in this game, 88 between 2 of them. Both these offenses, nobody can do anything. Field position becomes so critical.
Each team 3 crucial penalties. It's been Nebraska's special teams miscues. Pretty good boot. Simmons straight up the field, going to tiptoes across the 30, and that's where they'll stop him.
All right, Craig, what do you think on this drive if you're Missouri offensively? How about a double team every play on Ndamukong Suh? What do you think?
Well, then that opens up.
They've been doing that, haven't they?
They open up here Allen and
3 guys.
Barry Turner. I mean, this defensive line really has been able to go with just 4. And so it's given Nebraska's defensive coordinator, Carl Pelini, a lot of freedom and flexibility. He's not having to dial it up.
Blaine Gabbert still looks a little bit gimpy running back on the field.
Yeah, since Suh fell on that ankle, he hasn't been very efficient, has he, Gabbert? They just rushed 4, almost intercepted. Stepping in front was Amukamara, had it in his hands, couldn't hold it. That would have been the first career pick.
Well, Blaine Gabbert's receivers have to help him out. It looks here like Jared Perry kind of quits on this throw. He kind of settles down instead of just running through the football.
You know what, in Jared Perry, they said he was dependable in our meetings. You know, that's not dependable. You stop on a quarterback like that, and he's lucky he didn't get a pick six there.
He's only 175 pounds. He's had to learn to be tough in traffic. This is Moore. Picks up about 3. It'll be 3rd and 7. Another empty backfield.
Shuffling those footballs in, trying to dry them up, right?
5 receivers on 3rd and 7. Pressure off the corner. A completion, but not getting first down yardage is Moore out of the backfield.
The 3rd down play in the last drive, we saw Missouri defensive coordinator Dave Steckel dial up cover 0. Carl Pelini does that right here, getting the pressure on Gabbert.
He's still limping.
You know what? And he's not getting any help up front, though. You know, he can't sit back there in rhythm like he did that first series or so. Mr. Sue and his defensive line mates are really putting pressure up there.
Here's Harry, who was 7th in the nation coming into the game. 3rd in the conference. Niles Paul at his own 30-yard line. Mizzou goes 3 and out after the free kick following the safety. From the left footer. Sends it down to Paul, who loses the ball. A scramble at the 25. Nebraska retains possession. Almost another special teams gap by the Huskers.
You know what? I'm one of these guys, Jesse. I don't know how you feel about this, but when you got those rugby-style punters on punt return, I would be a guy that would think about putting 3 receivers back to stop the short punt from up top. When you have something like this, Missouri's got to capitalize on that. Very lucky, Nebraska.
Nebraska able to retain possession, only points so far on a safety after a miscue on the punt snap. It was our pleasure to visit the University of Missouri Children's Hospital yesterday, where the staff does a tremendous job of making these young patients feel as comfortable as possible, meant for the number of them. That's Marlowe there, the fractured elbow. Our best wishes to Braden, who suffered from leukemia, but the good news is it's in remission, and our salute to the entire staff. Did a wonderful job. It's very near the stadium.
We met a lot of special young kids, didn't we, Craig?
And special nurses and doctors and administrators, everybody working together, trying to give the best possible comfort to those families.
Kids all over the central part of the state coming to Columbia and have a medical need. Burkhead, the tailback, on first down for the Huskers from the 25. They fake it to him. Lee fires complete. Incomplete. He threw it behind Gilliland again, and he's really been having trouble with his accuracy on this rainy night as we check back with Kevin for a 30 and 30.
Chris, the Cardinals were 1 out away from evening their series with the Dodgers, but Matt Holliday could not catch this fly ball in the 9th inning. Game still alive. 4 batters later, Mark Loretta ends it with a walk-off single off Ryan Franklin. LA wins 3-2. They lead the series 2-zip. Meanwhile, the Rockies tied their series with the Phillies 5-4 at the bank. Next, Sports Center on ESPN2 at 10:30. Stay current with ESPN News.
Kevin, thanks. I got my purple Rockies hat up here in the booth. Ooh, big hit delivered, and the ball is incomplete as Jasper Simmons hammered Burkhead.
We talked about the speed of the secondary and how aggressive they are. They have no problems pinning their ears back, playing downhill, really punishing these skill players from Nebraska.
Yeah, welcome to college football, Mr. Burkhead. Welcome to the Big 12. Simmons, 6'1", 205. That's a medicine ball if ever one's been thrown.
Junior at a Hutchinson Junior College. Lee's missed his last 4. Now faces a 3rd and 10. Tigers rush just 4. Lee steps up, dives, and takes a big hit. Well short of a first down. Sean Weatherspoon, their top tackler, delivered the hit. As we check back with the special teams miscues, there was the bad snap. Then off the heel of May, Missouri couldn't do anything with that field position. And then the last punt, Henry collects the snap but throws it away. Dodged another bullet here, and now Henry's back on the field. And see if that freshman long snapper can deliver a more accurate pass. Gets it away. Good punt. Geddes driven back to his 15. Now tries to make something happen. Gets out back across the 30 as a Nebraska player is down on the field. We'll check his condition after we come back. 54-yard punt, 14 on the return. Chase Dean of Nebraska helped to the sidelines. Injured his leg down covering that punt. I'll show you another look at it. Footing tricky in this wet field turf.
You just hate to see this. It looks like he gets his right foot kind of stuck in the turf here. And that knee looks like it buckles a little bit. Really unfortunate to see.
So each team with just 47 yards offense in this first half. Mizzou taking over at the 31. Washington had an opening for a second, but it closed quickly, and he is body slammed to the ground by big Mr. Sue.
You can't expect any lineman to hold Sue that long. You know, if your run game here, you better be up a little bit and watch how fast Sue comes off the blocker.
Missouri averages 306 pounds up front on the offensive line, but that does not matter because Ndamukong Suh is so strong, just slams the opposing lineman.
And he slammed the ball carrier down hard. Just freakishly strong guy. Gabbert down the sidelines, takes a shot for Perry. It's broken up. Mukamara was there. Tried to get the ball to Perry a few times tonight, unsuccessfully.
You know, this offense has really struggled since Blaine Gabbert went down on that sack by Sue. And their last 3 possessions now, they've totaled -8 yards.
And first down's been abysmal for both offenses. They're trying high percentage passes on first down. They just tried there a run, and they were tardy to the line. So first down's killing these offenses.
Huskers rush 4 on 3rd and 10, and the throw is complete, but just a very short gain, nowhere near first down yardage. Perry collected it, but Gomes was right on him.
Nebraska is going to be content when Missouri gets in 3rd and long to play those match zones defensively. Just watch the route combinations happen in front of them and pursue the football and make tackles short of the first down marker.
Pretty easy to do that when you got that big defensive line up there doing their job, right?
Absolutely.
Comes Jake Carey, the lefty punter, and if Nebraska's smart, they'll just get away from it. Paul is out of there, and there's Burkhead, the true freshman, back to receive this punt. Knuckleball's down there. Burkhead's going to try to field it at the 16 and makes a fair catch. Now, big news in the Big 12. The problems for Des Bryant, ruled ineligible, and Oklahoma State's excellent wide receiver. High hopes for this team, which began the season in the top 5. Oklahoma State, the next opponent for this Missouri team. And you managed to talk to Deion Sanders today, who's been implicated in some of the stuff involving.
You know, basically Deion Sanders' position was that, look, this kid did nothing wrong. He had dinner at my house. The problem that he did was he said, no, I did not have dinner at my house to the NCAA. He lied to them. That's pretty stiff sanctions against a young man for making a decision to say no when asked a question.
So far, they haven't implicated him in any other violation, but they take lying to those investigators pretty seriously. Ball with a short catch. Big hit delivered at the 24.
You know, you wonder if lying to the NCAA should garner missing the rest of the season. I certainly don't believe that, but of course the NCAA is going to investigate this. We'll find out if there were any rules broken in fact.
I'd just like to know as a player, if I walked in as an 18, 19, 20-year-old, I'd want to know the rules sit down. Did they tell him that? Did he really understand the rules?
The time bring, no. Bryant off the Cowboys team. Hello tries to get the corner. He's cut down as a couple of flags fly. Aldon Smith, the talented redshirt freshman defensive end.
On the offense, number 68. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
It's Keith Williams, the guard. Aldon Smith, a big future for this Missouri defense. He says that he's not always in the right spot, but he's just a playmaker.
Well, he says a lot of guys on defense try to tell him, hey, you're not playing the defense right. You're not where you need to be. And what does he say, Craig?
I'm looking for TFLs, tackles for losses.
I make plays.
I make plays.
Got big potential. Still a lot to learn, like most redshirt freshmen. The leading sacker on this team with 3 coming in. And marching backwards after the holding penalty. Boy, I'll tell you, as if it's not tough enough against the opposing defenses. Tough enough with the weather. Both offenses just self-destructing the penalties. Tigers don't blitz. Back off. Lee delivers to the far sidelines, and a catch is made. Menelik Holt, the senior from San Diego, his 10th catch of the season.
This is really nice by Zach Lee, both pre-snap and post-snap. He gets them into the right protection and then throws a very catchable ball with a lot of touch on it, Craig.
I like the fact that Holt focused on the football at the very end with his hands. You saw his head stay on the ball. Good job of finishing it up.
And we got a first down.
Hey!
Rarity lately.
Hey!
Little inaccurate snap, collected and then fired high and off the hands of Gilliland. And now a flag comes down. There's an altercation in the secondary. One player from each side.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the defense, number 12. 15-yard penalty.
It can't be from your leader, your captain, Sean Weatherspoon, making a mental error.
He came in and hit a guy in the head at the end for a lineman for trying to block him, and Spoon is a lot smarter than that.
Right now, for Nebraska, I'd like to see them run the football. They stress they want to be balanced, and they've been trying to throw early. You got a guy like Roy Halou Jr. in the backfield. Run the ball. Let's get this thing going.
With 11 net yards so far because of the sacks they've taken. Halou just 4 for 17, Jesse. Well, throw on first down. Again, this is catch by Paul. Nope, dropped it right there. That was an accurate throw. Rutland was on the coverage.
Here's Sean Weatherspoon. You're going to see he's the furthest guy on the left coming into the screen. He's trailing it late. He's a captain. There's a play that tries to cut block him late. Oh, man, it just blasts him in the back. Right in front of the field.
He's fortunate to be in the game still.
Yeah, he did. Easy call for the field goal you made.
But that's a great football player there, Weatherspoon, and doesn't make very many mental mistakes like that.
Pressure off the edge. They pick it up, and Lee fires complete. Just short of first down yardage is Paul at the 44.
Again, Zach Lee is showing you that he is in tune with this game plan. Already on this drive a couple times, he's had to change the Mike linebacker call to make sure that his pocket is set and everyone gets protected.
What you mean there, Jesse, is the blitz was coming from the right side. He helped his offensive lineman out, so they made sure they knew who they were identifying the block. Great job of recognizing the pressure.
High formation in 3rd and 1. Burkhead is the tailback.
It's like a rugby match.
They give it to the freshman. And he dives for a first down. Almost broke it. Legate, the fullback, with a good lead block.
Rex Burkhead is a guy this coaching staff really, really likes. He's a change of pace guy to Hilo Jr.
How about Ricky Henry, 74? Did he get in the hole, Fowler?
Now you see Burkhead just tripped over him, I think. He was headed for the end zone. Perhaps he had a little opportunity to break that.
I'm with you, Jesse, though, on this thing here. They've got to get the ground game going. First down runs being positive.
Lee takes a shot, looking for Holt downfield. Artie Ricks was in coverage.
Craig, I just think on first down plays, when the defense is playing big zones like that, you're throwing these incompletions, you're just throwing downs away. Then you're setting yourself up behind the 8-ball, second and long.
You said they had to take shots, though. You didn't like that particular shot.
Not on first down against the big zone defense.
And we came into this game saying that Zach Lee, one of the greatest things he had coming in was he had a running game. Roy Halou was a really leading Big 12 in rushing. The guy can run the football. So at some point, Watson's got to change it up and run the ball on first down.
Lee thinks about running, now throws. It was very close to the line of scrimmage. Pass incomplete, and there is a flag down. Holt was in the area, but did he cross the line? Or was the lineman downfield? Whatever it is, we got yet another penalty.
Ineligible receiver legally downfield on the offense, number 74. Penalties decline. Third down.
That might be on the quarterback. He was back there a long time and very close to the line of scrimmage. Could have taken off.
Yeah, he could have taken off, but you've seen that they're pretty fast linebackers that are sucking them up as soon as these quarterbacks leave the pocket.
That's the third or fourth time tonight when Zach Lee has been on the run. He's really thrown behind his wide receivers. He's really struggled with his accuracy when he's gotten outside the pocket in these sloppy conditions tonight.
Yeah, I'd be interested, Aaron, if you can find out from both quarterbacks, are they trying to think about gloves on the sidelines? What are they doing when they're on the sidelines?
It's a night for flotation devices here at Columbia. Halou back in the game now on 3rd and 10. Lee has time, delivers high and over the hands of Niles Paul. 6 for 18.
You see the weather playing a little bit of factor for both Niles Paul as well. It's stumbling, getting out of his break.
That's a leader for you, though. Mr. Sue comes over and says, hey, look, don't worry about it. Hang in there. Defense will keep you in the game.
Mr. Sue might need to recover a fumble if we're going to have some points tonight.
Pick it up and score, too.
Henry will try to pin the Tigers deep. Carl Geddes stands at his 7-yard line. That one angles out. They'll spot it at about the 10-yard line. So Mizzou takes over. 6:20 before halftime. 2-0 Tigers. Welcome back to the Missouri Derby. It's going to be a mutter tonight if you're in a race. The good night for the Affleck Duck. And here's the trivia question. The only two former Tigers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. One of them, not that tough. One of them leaps to mind because it hasn't been that long. The other one, got to go back a little bit, I think.
I think I know what position he played. I just don't know what his name is.
You don't have an idea? I think he played for about 40 years in the NFL. Cardinals.
Yeah.
Washington on first down. And this Missouri team stumbling around, just 51 yards of offense. They've been starting slowly. Bowling Green, they were down a couple touchdowns until the third quarter. They trailed Nevada as well, but it's an ugly looking drive chart.
Especially the number of plays. There's just zero there. I'm telling you, watching this Nebraska defensive line pursue the football, they are playing fast.
Gabbert gingerly moving around back there in the gimpy ankle. Fires complete. It's Washington, and he has a first down at the 22. Compton on the stop. Aaron? Gabbert still limping. We'll check Aaron's microphone in a second. Tigers right back up to the line here. Finally get a first down, the first of the second quarter. Little option here. Gabbert keeping, and getting very little. Not going to work too well with a quarterback who's not that shifty and's got a bum ankle.
Wow, why didn't he pitch that football? I mean, the pursuit was coming from the inside out, not playing a heady game. Maybe afraid, Jesse, that he's going to pitch left-handed wet ball?
Maybe not a great call. I don't know.
Ball security certainly is important, Craig, in this football game, and so many aspects for the quarterback position.
I mean, blame I'm going to go tell Sean Watson, coach, it's not a night for the option on the ankle here.
Especially the left side.
Empty backfield on 2nd and 9. Low snap. Here comes pressure. Gets it away. Complete. Over the middle. First down. Across the 40. Finally, Perry, a big gain. And something from the passing game.
We've seen 2 throws now on this drive from Blaine Gabbert. That shows you why he's considered to be a potential pro prospect. There's only a sophomore, just natural arm strength, flicking it over the middle of the field.
Yeah, Dijon Gomes in the inside let the receiver go beyond him without help on the inside.
You see big Mr. Sue bearing down up the middle on that twist. Pretty good throw under the circumstances for Gabbert. Short gain for Washington.
Craig, you had mentioned earlier you were really impressed with this Nebraska defensive line running. I think a lot of us thought Nebraska would be good. They're only giving up 7 points a game, which is best in the nation, but hadn't yet really been tested by a good offense. Right. So far tonight, granted it is raining, but they've looked pretty outstanding.
Competition's been pretty light outside of that trip to Virginia Tech, and they dominated and lost. Gabbert has time, delivers, incomplete. Fired the ball. Crowd wanted a flag as Jarrell Jackson was defended by Larry Asante.
Seeing a weakness here now, I would stay to the middle of the field. Nebraska's allowing the receivers to get inside. Just was the timing was off a little bit on the delivery.
Yeah, I really think the secondary so far for Nebraska has done a very good job breaking on routes, breaking on balls. There's been a lot of small windows for Blaine Gabbert to try to fit the football in so far tonight.
Both teams just 2 of 7 on 3rd down. You need 9. And try the middle again and incomplete. Even if that ball was caught, it wasn't going to be a first down. Gomes defending Perry. Nothing there.
Yeah, Nebraska changed it up that time. They only went with 4 rushing on 3rd and long. The last time they brought 5 and got burned on the inside.
Well, Ndamukong Suh's promise to his quarterback, Zach Lee, we saw on the sideline a little bit ago, comes true. They get the football right back with the young quarterback to try to make plays, get some points here before the half.
Punters have been busy. And each punt has been adventurous. There he gets it away, and Burkhead lost it. It bounced right back to him at the 12. That lefty punt with the reverse spin, giving the return of trouble again.
It just comes out at a different angle, doesn't it, Jesse? When you're catching a left-footed punt, the ball's coming down, dropping a different way.
44 yards. They dodge a bullet again on special teams. Well, how'd you do with our Affleck trivia question? The 2 former Missouri Tigers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. One of them, not that tough. The tight end, Kellen Winslow, of course, the phenomenal career, inducted 95. And Roger Worley was a DB forever. 7 Pro Bowls. The St. Louis Cardinals, just down the road here. Both those guys honored in the football complex here at Missouri.
Oh, yeah, you walk into that facility, there are 2 huge banners hanging from the ceiling of those guys.
So the Huskers take over, 3:33 before halftime, down 2-0, and Hellehu hit in the backfield. There's Sean Weatherspoon. You hear the crowd saying spoon. One of the top linebackers in the country.
Sean Witherspoon is a tackling machine. He had 155 last year that led the Big 12. Craig, he's got a nose for the football.
Well, he attacks. You see him back here at the top, all right? Watch how fast, once he recognizes run, watch him fill the lane. Down the lane, get in the game. They forget to block him. How can you forget to block number 12? He's right there. Hit that guy.
We'll see if they play it cautious now on 2nd and 12 here with a struggling quarterback. Tigers don't blitz. Lee delivers complete far side. A short gain. It'll be 3rd down. Check back with Kevin.
Chris, coming up on the IBM halftime report, the latest on Tim Tebow's health heading into Saturday's big showdown against LSU. Mark May offers some solutions for the Gators offense if they play without Tebow, and a playoff finish out in LA you don't want to miss. We'll see you at the half.
Oh, they want to miss it in this state. Cardinals letting one slip away. It's a baseball-crazed state, but this is football, whether tonight. With a baseball score. Under center, Lee short drop, first down strike, out of the 25-yard line. Another big hit, but Holt held on as Hobson came quickly.
Nebraska has all their timeouts remaining right now. It's a nice job there, though, of exactly working one side of the field. It's not there, coming back to his open receiver.
Alou in the quick toss. He's cut down for no gain. Simmons, who's had an active first half, cut him down. They don't spend a timeout.
It just feels like on a running play, they're balanced defensively. They're not really hard up 8 in the box, but there's one guy coming clean from the secondary.
Is this sort of a half-hearted attempt by Nebraska to do something before halftime? Not spending a timeout there. Clock ticking inside a minute 20. Lee fires, incomplete. There's Halou out of the backfield. Hobson in coverage. Clock stopped at 1:06.
Well, there doesn't seem to be a big sense of urgency right now for this Nebraska offense. Taking a lot of time at the line of scrimmage.
Well, now all of a sudden advantage just went across to Missouri, right? About this clock. 3 timeouts, minute 6. Now advantage Tigers.
It'll be Missouri, no doubt, using a timeout if they stop Nebraska here. We'll see if Sean Watson elects just to run it, make him spend the timeout. The freshman Burkhead is the tailback. Lee going to throw far side, way over the head of Holt.
That's really been the only area of the football field, I think, so far tonight. Zach Lee has had a lot of success throwing on the perimeter outside, comeback throws, pitches. Wide field throws like that, though, on 3rd and long, very difficult to complete, especially in this weather.
Bad news, they have to punt. So look out for the snap. Henry's back there, and I'm telling you, nothing boring about the punts tonight. There have been a lot of them, but they've been tough to execute. The snap. A low boot on the run. Fielded. Geddes into the secondary. Makes a man miss and gets down inside the 30. So Missouri, with 48 seconds to go, great field position. And there's a flag near the spot of the tackle.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the receiving team, number 31. 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's just inexcusable. Trey Hobson, the backup corner, moving Missouri back 15 yards after the nice return by Geddes.
Yeah, the rugby-style kick worked in one manner because it disrupted the punt return blocking, but look at this blow here. That's a bonehead play right there.
Inexcusable. The play's over. Jog to the sidelines. Accept the football near the 30-yard line going in.
Missouri and Nebraska, not the friendliest of rivals. Both teams keyed up, but it's led to perhaps a lot of mental mistakes in this first half. So Mizzou at the 44 with all their timeouts. Gabbert fires, incomplete. It was behind Alexander, well covered. Philip Dillard, the linebacker, was right on him out of that slot position.
And you know what? And the fans are booing right now. They're acting like it's a pass interference, but the middle of the field, it is a good job, Chris. The guy did time it right to block it down.
There's a long throw by Gabbert, incomplete on the sidelines. Even with the penalty, Missouri a good opportunity with 3 timeouts to make use of this field position in plus territory.
Jesse, what do you think?
Got a field goal kicker that it hasn't missed this year.
Yeah, and what do you think about this foot? See if he's pushing off and throwing.
It doesn't really look like he's being able to drive, and certainly there is some action in front of him. Guess who again? Bearing down on him.
Need about 15 yards to get in range for Grant Russell in terms of his career long of 46. They take a shot down the field. Perry in the neighborhood collects it at the 5. Good job by Perry, who was turned around in the throw, came back to the ball. It's 1st and goal.
In the pocket, watch Gabbert here not push off his back leg. Watch this. He throws off his front leg.
It's a lot of natural arm strength. Losses receiver Jared Perry, he was running by Prince Amukamara, who actually fell down on the play, and he was just able to kind of field that like a punt, doing a nice job turning around and finding the back shoulder throw.
Deja vu for Bo Pelini, who saw his defense play so well against Virginia Tech, then get burned by a big pass to lose the game. Missouri set up at the 5-yard line now. The Pepsi 500, NASCAR, Sunday at 2:30 on ABC. Mark Martin, plantar fasciitis. He can barely walk to the car. He kind of limps over there, but once he gets there, there's nothing wrong with his gas pedal foot.
Well, hey, you know what, Jesse? You busted us last week, Fowler, because we had some nice nuggets on this.
Yeah.
Here we go. Come on.
Go ahead, get through it. Jimmy Johnson, 18 points. So Missouri first and goal at the 6-yard line. Still 2 timeouts. Gabbert loops into the end zone. A miscommunication with his receiver. Cutting inside was Alexander. The ball delivered outside.
Missouri has not been great in the red zone this year. In 15 trips, they've only scored 7 touchdowns. I think a big reason why is because their inability to run the football. Certainly with this much time left, you got to throw it, but precision, Craig.
Yeah, you know what, though? With 2 timeouts, a little draw on the inside of the field is not a bad move either.
You take out the Furman game, Jesse. Only 4 touchdowns in 10 red zone trips against 1A opponents from Missouri. You like the middle there? They hand it to Washington, running left. And he's cut down at the 3. They'll have to spend a timeout with 19 seconds until halftime. Philip Dillard, nice tackle.
I like the hole in the middle of the field. I didn't circle the outside of the field where they were lined up.
But as an offense, that makes sense, right? You're running against a 5-man box or a 6-man box. You spread them out offensively. You have numbers to get your talented running back a crease somewhere. And you have the luxury, really, of having these timeouts to call those plays.
So Missouri's offense so ineffective throughout the entire game, trying to get something here. Only points on that safety. But we could go up, 9-zip on a night like this with the defense playing well and Zach Lee struggling to be enormous. What happens here in the next couple plays?
There's no question about it. They just need points, period. So this is not a field goal game right now, but you'd love to get that touchdown. Sloppy conditions, penalties on both sides. Neither offense has really looked dominant.
But a big difference right here, don't you think? Between 3 and 7, given the conditions.
But weren't y'all expecting some goofy play, a big play to happen like that Hail Mary throw down there just a moment ago?
And there's a whistle. And Nebraska will spend a timeout on defense here for checking the alignment of the Tigers. I think Pelini and his brother Carl understand the importance of this situation right here. Try to go into the locker room down just 5 as opposed to 9-zip.
How about number 81 down here on the goal line? 6'5", Denario Alexander. The best receiver on this team. Really, have you called his name tonight, Chris?
He was active early. They went to him, but he hasn't done much since the first couple of series.
If I was Nebraska defensively right now, I would bring pressure up the middle because Blaine Gabbert's a big gimpy. If you could push him outside and get him on the perimeter, he's not running well. Try to get him to force a throw, get yourself into a field goal situation.
I got the tight end, too. Andrew Jones, number 87, is a pretty good receiver as well. He's flexed out in the slot to the right. Big play, 3rd and goal. Washington running left. Not going to get the goal line. Picked up about 1.5 yards. It'll be 4th down. And clock ticking now. 8, 7. Missouri will have to spend its final timeout and have to settle for a field goal attempt, you'd think, from the 1-yard line.
Well, it might be a little bit more. It's a long yard, if that is a yard, with Damakong Suh and some of those defensive tackles. I'm taking the field goal, Craig.
5 points in this football game here.
Yeah, but that's a frustrating sequence. You could tell the Missouri offense walking to the sidelines. A great opportunity to get a touchdown there, and again coming short in the red zone.
I think with Gabbert's gimpy ankle, he limits you. If you're doing a quarterback read, he's not going to keep the football. You know who's going to get it, your ball carrier.
I like Missouri's idea of trying to run the football down there because they had the timeouts. I think they would have liked to crease them more. Give Nebraska a lot of credit on defense for running to the football and making tackles.
Their field goal kicker is Grant Russell. He won the job in the final scrimmage. He's a sophomore. He's 10 for 10 in field goals. He's not on the field right now. Missouri giving a look like they're going to go for this from the 1-yard line. Interesting. Washington in motion. Gabbert keeps it. Gimpy, ankle and all, gets to the end zone as time expires in the first half. A gamble by Pinkel, and a gimpy quarterback just able to get it across the goal line.
Well, Craig, they fooled us on this. We thought with that gimpy ankle on the zone read, Blaine Gabbert would never pull it. But you see the ends crash. Damakong Suh gets squeezed inside. And that allows the quarterback to make a play.
Does he get across the goal line? They're reviewing it. The knee went down as the ball was near that plane. Ball came loose after he crossed the goal line, but did he cross the line before the knee was down? This is a huge review and a real gamble by Pinkel. If he gets stopped short here, if they review this and rule it no touchdown, he will be questioned.
I don't know. That left knee looked like it hit pretty early.
But can we see where the football was when the knee was on the ground?
We have another angle. A lot on the line in this review.
No time left. If they review this and they determine that he was out of the end zone, this is a 2-0 game going into halftime.
The issue is, was the ball across the plane before the knee was down, and did he have control of the ball when he crossed the goal line? Because it did come loose.
Give Gary Pinkel a lot of credit for going for it, but also
I'll give him credit if it's a touchdown.
The play call, that was a good play call.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I tell you, it
fooled everybody.
If he gets stopped for a loss there in the bad ankle, he's going to be questioned, Pinkel.
Indisputable video evidence has to come out of there, right?
Yep.
And so from what I've seen so far, haven't seen anything to reverse it.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands is called touchdown.
It was close. It was gutsy, but it's a touchdown.
Gary Pinkel's a genius, we think. Let's take a look again. Lowers the shoulder.
Ball crosses right.
Knee is down right there. The ball
is it down?
Is it touching? Is it touching?
Is the knee down?
Oof,
very close.
Very close.
And a body of a Nebraska defender kind of obscured the view of the camera along the goal line. But the call of the field stands. Nebraska fans may not buy it, but Gabbert makes it 9-zip as we go to Aaron Andrews.
Coach, your defense had played so well the entire half. What happened on that last drive?
Well, we had a corner who fell down. And on the last play, we had a blitz up, and the guy didn't go. We had a busted assignment. We would have hit the quarterback in the backfield. But, it's a lot of football to be played. We'll be all right.
All right, Coach. Thank you. See ya.
38-yard pass to Perry sets up the touchdown run by Gabbert. And it's 9-zip Missouri on a rainy night in Columbia. Kevin Negandhi in our ESPN studio for the IBM halftime report. Kevin?
Chris, thank you very much. And just like that, the drama in the final 10 seconds of the first half. It looked very slow. Defense, special teams, and a lot of rain, and more rain, and more rain. And then this play, Gary Pinkel, on one replay, saving a lot of questions, Lou, on this. It looked very close with Blaine Gabbert.
The replay was very close. It was a bold call. I know when I first went into coaching, they said there are old coaches and there are bold coaches. There are no old, bold coaches. This was 4th down, and if he doesn't get in, a field goal would beat him.
Not getting points, too, it would have been devastating.
It definitely would have changed the momentum of the game. But here's another look at it. This is how close it is. Watch his left knee. It looks to me that it's down before the ball crosses the plane right there. But it's such a bang-bang call for the officiating crew to make that call. But it was a gamble by Gary Pinkel, the head coach, and it paid off for them. Now they got the momentum. It doesn't matter. The play's over. They got the touchdown. They go into halftime. Big-time momentum for Missouri at this point.
From bold to bonehead, back to bold, just by inches in a replay. Pretty amazing. And Gary Pinkel and his boys right now up 9-0 at the half at home. Ahead, the good doctor is out. Well, Coach Lou is in, and he has a very special message for LSU. We're at the half here between Missouri and Nebraska.
This is the IBM Halftime Report.
He's got it for a touchdown. On the money. He's got a touchdown. Oh, my. It's in. He's at the 5, and he scores. Just picking it in. Touchdown, Gators. He's got it, and they're not going to get him.
Now we're less than 48 hours away from #1 Florida, #4 LSU. Decision on Tim Tebow likely will be made on Saturday. The quarterback has practiced with the team, done the weights, treadmill, but right now, if Tebow is ready, Lou, do you change your approach and the game plan with him on the field?
I really don't think so. You know, the doctors cleared him. The boy obviously would have to clear himself before you made any decision about playing him. But, you know, you're talking about one of the great competitors, one of the great quarterbacks in the history of the game. I mean, a tremendous leader. What he has done is incredible. I mean, he's like a legend down there in Florida already. But I think when you put him in a game, you just go play him. If he's okay to play, you just go with your game plan.
The worst passing game in Tebow's career happened 2 years ago in Baton Rouge against LSU. The team lost by 4 points. They have a backup there, one of the better backups around the country, and John Brantley, who's ready to come in. He's been taking some reps as well, Mark.
He definitely has, and the coaching staff and the players and Urban Meyer have a lot of confidence in John Brantley as the quarterback this season. He's been outstanding with the football. Smart, protected the football, 4 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions in a limited role, but he's completed 73% of his passes. Hey, there's only one Tim Tebow, but if you're Florida, you feel very confident in your backup in John Brantley because of the things that he can do, and plus he's been in this system for a couple of years now.
Brantley, by the way, was the National Player of the Year in high school at Ocala just a couple of years ago, threw 99 touchdowns in the state of Florida, and you see the comparison so far this season. Of course, Brantley coming in on backup time. If Tebow's not in the lineup, the Gators have some decisions to make, and here's Mayday with more.
In tonight's IBM Insight Center, we're going to be taking a look at the colossal matchup in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Saturday night, where the 4th-ranked LSU Tigers host the #1-ranked Florida Gators. Now, at this point, we don't even know if quarterback Tim Tebow is going to play in the game. But if he does play in the game, the question for Urban Meyer is, how do you protect him from the LSU defense? The question for the Florida Gator offense, can you convert in 3rd and short situations without Tim Tebow? But the trend is 3rd and 4th downs, when it's 3 yards or less, can the offense convert? With Tim Tebow running the ball in the offense, he's been able to convert over the last 4 years 83% of the time. The rest of the Florida offense, just 60% of the time. The solution? Give the football to other players. Jeffrey Dempsey and Emmanuel Moody, since 2008, have converted 5 out of 6 situations in 3rd and short to get the first downs. Now, another situation, get the ball behind the 2 offensive linemen. The Pouncey brothers. They start at center and guard, and they average 320 pounds per man. If you want to convert on 3rd and 4th situations, get the ball behind those players, give it to Emmanuel Moody and Jeffrey Dempsey.
Oh, a bad snap by Nebraska on this play right here. The special teams costing the Huskers 2 points. Right now, Mizzou up 9-0 at the half.
Doctor! Dr. Lou, Dr. Lou. That's Dr. Lou, Dr. Lou.
The doctor is out. This is Lil Wayne. After getting demolished last year by Florida, what would be your pregame pep talk to my LSU Tigers?
Man, we are LSU. We've won 2 national championships this decade, and we have a chance to win the 3rd. Why? Because we believe. We believe in ourselves, our teammates, and our coaches. You cannot achieve success if you don't believe. It's just as difficult to achieve success without believing as it is to jump over a ditch in 2 different steps. You cannot do it. You want to believe, but not be arrogant. I tell people that I'm my wife's trophy husband. And people are always asking dumb questions. The guy's house on fire. He calls the fire department, he's screaming, my house is on fire. And the fireman said, how do we get to here? And the guy replied, don't you have a fire truck? People are asking, how can LSU beat Florida? They're so invincible. They got the great Tim Tebow. This was sent to me, the official Tebow towel. First, I tried to take a shower, and it wasn't big enough. And the only good thing I can find about this, it'd serve as a crying towel after we beat them. See? Don't get caught up in all the hype. Florida gained 322 yards this year against great Tennessee defense in Gainesville, Florida. Last week, Auburn gained 457 yards against that Tennessee defense. But everybody doesn't say, oh, Auburn's invisible. Nobody can beat Auburn. You do the little things. You pay attention. Jack Nicklaus averaged 70.36 strokes per round. Bob Charles averaged 70.9 the same year. A half-stroke difference per round. Yet Jack Nicklaus made 5 times as much money. Why? Little things make a difference. Now, gentlemen, I've been carrying this deck of cards around with me for a year. This is the ace of spades. I keep that for myself. How many does that leave? Leaves 51. There's 51 cards here. You know what? Each one of these cards represents 1 point that Florida scored on us last year. They scored 51 points against us. A great defense. There's no other way it's going to happen. We're going to get after them. We're going to hit them. We're going to beat them on the scoreboard. We're going to beat them physically, and we're going to dominate them. We're on our way to our 3rd national championship, and after the game, you walk over to the Florida player and say, have a good day.
Have a good day. Was the knee down before the ball crossed the plane? Mizzou says no way. Blaine Gabbert, the Tigers up 9-0 over Nebraska. Second half coming up.
Set for the second half, ESPN's college football primetime presented by Applebee's. Missouri scoring in the final play of the first half. A Blaine Gabbert touchdown run, a gutsy call by Pinkel, a very close call for the replay officials. They allow the score, and now it's Nebraska getting the ball first, but in a hole and looking for offensive production. 14 possessions combined, both teams in the first half, 11 punts, a fumble, and a safety.
And the behind-the-scenes deal that really strikes me is the special teams in Nebraska. Yeah. All the slop that they've had out there, they've allowed Missouri to gain confidence, and they've really had no momentum with their football team.
A lot of penalties early in this game as well for both schools, really hurting themselves, especially early on drives. They really got to narrow down on those mistakes mentally.
Trying to keep those footballs dry for the second half. Huskers will get it to start, but a troubling first half for Zach Lee. Roy Halou never really able to get loose on the running game. 15 carries, or 15 yards, I should say, on 6 carries. That's it for the talented tailback.
Guy that leads the Big 12 in rushing.
Tanner Mills, the kickoff specialist. He's got a strong leg. This one bouncing out of bounds. Strong leg, but not what you want to do, and the Huskers will start at the 40 after the penalty. Tonight's coaching adjustments brought to you by the Home Depot.
Yeah, you know what? We've really tried to pinpoint where Missouri's doing well on defense. Nebraska's offensive line's not fitting up on everybody. There's that extra guy up there. Very visible right there. Again, here with the linebacker, Weatherspoon.
And Nebraska knew coming into this game they would have to run against 8-man boxes. But like you said, Craig, linemen, wide receivers, tight ends, they need to chip up and account for some of these unblocked players if they're going to get production early in the running game.
Don't you guys feel there's just no respect from Missouri for Nebraska's downfield passing game at all?
None.
Still a driving rain as we begin the third quarter. Halou is the tailback. He's got the ball. Not much of a gain as we check with Aaron Andrews on the field. Yeah.
I asked Garrett about going for it on 4th and 1 and how he could even think about doing that with Blaine Gabbert's ankle, and he said, I know he's a competitor, I knew he would gut it out, and I'm glad it worked. He also mentioned, you know, here in this second half, they're going to have to pay close attention to Gabbert. He did take a shot in that first half, and you know, it's stiffen up a bit. Guys, also, Nebraska has no lights on in their locker room. They conducted that halftime with flashlights.
Wow, another casualty of the blackout as the snap gets away. Lee tries to cover it. There's still a scrum. Gatchkar comes up with the football. He recovered the fumble early on the missed punt.
You know what, Aaron? The lights have not been on for Nebraska all night offensively either, so there's no surprise there. The snap over, get on the football, pick the ball up, cover it up.
It didn't look to me like Zach Lee was even ready for this snap, and if he was, where was the center snapping that football? Missouri right now, guys, maybe has a chance to end this game right now. First possession, second half. If they can score a touchdown, this thing could be over already.
And Nebraska's offense is playing. I get your point. Washington picks up just 2.
You know, we came into this football game wanting to know how Zach Lee and the offense of Nebraska would play in their first really big game, right? You know, of conference significance.
Well, Zach Lee really struggled, remember, against Virginia Tech. 11 of 30 in that game, only 8 of 22 tonight.
Empty backfield. Washington in the slot on 2nd and 9. Gabbert fires low and incomplete. He's looking for Wes Kemp.
I think the critical errors tonight have come from Nebraska. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Fumbled punts, shanked punts.
Now they fumbled 5, only lost 2 of them.
Snaps.
Yeah.
Little things.
And Bo Pelini's had a team that was pretty respected this year because they hadn't been doing a lot of bonehead things.
And he felt like his team would be able to handle these conditions no problem. There's Washington. He's knocked down short of a first down.
And it's interesting, really. Nebraska coming into the game has been great in sudden change. They've had 3 turnovers on the year, but have not allowed any points off of those turnovers. Here's the first opportunity for Missouri to capitalize on that.
Well, they'll try for 3 points. Grant Russell again. Thought we'd see a field goal attempt late in the first half. 10 for 10. The only guy to be perfect in college football who's tried that many. Walk-on kicker from 43 yards. Snap is handled well, but this kick drifts and misses. He hooked it, so the first miss of the season for Russell. And Missouri comes up empty after the fumble. Nebraska still down 9-zip after the missed field goal. Takes over at the 25. Needing to create some kind of a big play, something downfield to loosen up this defense. On the option, the late pitch to Halou. He gets the corner and dives for about a 7-yard gain.
We're just talking about it in break. There's a penalty flag now on the field late.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness on the defense, number 32. Targeting the player with his helmet. 15 yards to the dead ball spot. First down.
Will Ebner, the sophomore linebacker, hitting Lee.
It's interesting, you know, this is something the referee said they were going to look at more seriously. I think this is the first time we've called the game this year we've actually seen this call.
Well, we've seen several times to the quarterback, at the quarterback, right? Watch Lee.
You hear the helmet pop there. All major penalties on Missouri, 6 of them so far. Lee's been trying to smile through all the pain and misery tonight.
I used to try that too, but
didn't work.
Not so much.
I didn't. I just get back in the huddle and be quiet, try to lull them to sleep. Sleep.
You can't be having much fun out there, but they're still in the game. If they can create something here. Pressure from Missouri. They pick it up and Lee fires. No chance. Just no chance. Antonio Bell is the true freshman receiver. He's pointing to himself like he didn't do the right thing on the route.
Very dangerous, though. Craig and I were pointing at each other up here in the booth because, you know, this wet weather, throwing these balls on the outside of the perimeter, if it's not precise, it might be pick 6.
And it was late. That's why I'm saying get back to the middle of the field. I haven't seen Nebraska work in the middle of Missouri's defense. I'd go inside. I'd try to work them inside.
Halou Jr. muscled out of the 49. Alden Smith forced him out.
See the speed right there. The freshman defensive end, Alden Smith, chasing Halou Jr. It's amazing. Halou Jr. came into the game averaging 116 rushing yards. Right now, I mean, before this drive, he's got 27 right now. I mean, they're really doing a good job containing him.
Under 3 yards a carry, and he came in averaging 6.4.
But aren't you impressed with Missouri's defense and their speed that they have in that 7? They're getting up there.
They're also committing a lot of guys to stop the run. They don't fear downfield passing. Lee needs 7 on 3rd down. And now flag. Again, the 25-second clock's not on the field.
Start on the offense. Number 65, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Just a couple of ticks left, and Mike Smith, the left tackle, flinched.
But even just 5 yards makes such a big difference when you're trying to move the chains. 3rd and 7 is so much different than 3rd and 12, isn't it, Craig?
You know what? Bo Pelini said going in at halftime that we'll be all right. Well, he won't be all right. They won't be all right unless they stop making those mistakes.
Third and 12. Lee fires on the sidelines. Incomplete. It was a low throw. Brandon Kinney, the sophomore, had a play on it. Brian Coulter off the edge there was pressuring Lee.
All right, now these wide receivers, they're so focused with this weather and rain on using their body to catch the ball. How many times have we seen it just go right between the body and the arms? They're not working about their hands.
The catches that have to be made, drive killers on this very difficult night to throw the football.
Huskers still haven't hit triple digits in total yards. Came in averaging 440. Henry gets the punt away. It's a big kangaroo hop at the end. Geddes trying to make something happen. Gets dropped at the 20. So Mizzou back on offense, protecting a 9-0 lead. Shake's Pizza here in Columbia. It's a good late night pizza spot. You get that place, you get Harpo's, famous local tavern.
You know the spots.
I know some Missouri grads. Cheryl Crow, graduate, comes from Kennett, Missouri. I'm sure she had a brew or two in Harpo's during her years as an undergrad.
Brought her guitar.
That's where they're headed too. I guarantee you there's a beer in their future after putting up with this weather tonight.
It was in their past as well.
Is it letting up, or is it my imagination? There's a first down throw from Gabbert, maybe. Tries to get away, flips it short. Washington trying to make a man miss, and he can't. Good, solid tackle for a loss there by Eric Hagg, the backup safety.
If Nebraska's going to win this game, it's going to be by their defense. Their offense has shown that. So here on this side of the field, they've got to come up with a play.
Craig, it's incredible. I mean, you look at both of these offenses coming in. They were totaling 900 yards of offense. There's a little bit over 230 so far.
They hand it off in motion. Washington trying to muscle for a short gain. It'll set up 3rd and about 7 for Gabbert. You know, when you look at just the second halves of ball games, the most efficient guy in the country. Only 10 incompletions, 6 touchdown passes, a lot of big plays, long gains in the second half.
In games that were still on the line.
Oh, yeah.
That was not mop-up duty by any stretch.
Not at all. They had to rally against Bowling Green and Nevada. But I don't know if big plays are going to happen tonight against this defense in these conditions. Gabbert firing short, incomplete. Crowd wanting a flag as Denard was defending Perry. No flag. Here comes another punt.
I think we've seen 3 or 4 times now going to the middle of the field that there's been really good defensive plays batting the ball. And Nebraska's defense steps up again and stops Missouri.
Did he get there too soon?
See right here, watch Denard.
Yeah,
he kind of went through right in the middle of the back.
Depends on who you're pulling for.
That's right.
The 13th punt of this game. Jay Carey the 4th, and the freshman Burkhead, who had his troubles. Remember, muffed the last one, but fell on it. A very, very late fair catch made at the 30-yard line, and that's where the Cornhuskers will take over as we check back with Kevin in the studio.
Chris, each week you vote for the AT&T All-America Player of the Week. This week's winner, Golden State of Notre Dame. He caught 9 balls for 244 yards in the Irish dramatic win over Washington. Text the word VOTE to 345-345 on your mobile phone to vote and for a chance to win a trip to the national championship game. Guys, back to you.
Notre Dame finding ways to win. Jimmy Clausen, brother, will join us on College Game Day this Saturday morning. There's There's another short gain. Halou just getting the corner, but just hasn't been able to bust loose. Sean Weatherspoon tracking him down.
Nebraska was trying earlier in the game to run inside. No success. Here they come out in the second half now trying to get outside. Not much better.
Well, when they tried to go inside, we showed you coming out of halftime that they're not manning up. They're letting safeties come up inside the box and linebackers go free. They're not matching up with everybody.
Halou's in the slot now. Lee has plenty of time, has nobody open, fires low, incomplete. The ball hit the ground.
Watching Missouri play defensively right now, because they're not allowing big yards on first down running plays, they're content to just lay back and play big zones. It's really hard right now for Zach Lee to find anybody open.
Only 4 rushing, 7 in coverage. At some point, a Nebraska receiver is going to have to work his way back and make a play for Zach Lee.
And they're trying to use some younger receivers now. The veterans haven't been having any success. They're bringing guys like Antonio Bell, Brandon Kinney in the ball game. 9:16 left in the third quarter. The clock not working. 3rd and 9. Lee wants some time, fired high and over the head of Kinney. 0 for his last 6.
Dave Steckel, the defensive coordinator at Missouri, has done a heck of a job of mixing it up. You know, Jesse, he told us yesterday, we're going to blitz when we get off the bus and keep blitzing. That time he dropped 8 into coverage.
Said Nebraska has not seen a lot of blitzes so far this year, but you're right, mixing it up and really keeping Zach Lee off balance.
Carl Geddes, punt returner who limped off the last return. He's also a starting corner. He's out. Brandon Giroux's in there. And this is a deep punt. Takes a tricky bounce. And goes out about the 14-yard line. Well, this Saturday, night football features a Big Ten battle. Kirk Ferentz, undefeated Iowa, hosting Tate Forcier and the Michigan Wolverines. 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific. More log on to ESPN.com.
How about the true freshman Tate Forcier? Had they won at Michigan State last week,
right,
and he had brought them back late again to yet another rally late and a win, do you think people will be talking about Heisman with them?
As a true freshman?
Why not?
Why not?
Get rid of the classification. Why not?
Voters have inherent biases. Why not?
Yeah.
Devin Moore. A little room in traffic. Missouri will take that on first down, given the lack of success tonight.
Well, all of the top 3 guys or 4 guys, however many you had in there in the Heisman race this year, they've done nothing. There's nobody really jumped out there and said,
Jimmy Clausen's playing pretty good football.
Yeah, he's playing great football.
Dalton McCoy's playing pretty good football.
Tim Tebow's played well as well.
There's the pitch, but this is going nowhere. Moore just swallowed up, loses the yards they gained on first down. Pierre Allen from the defensive end with the tackle for loss.
Pierre Allen is a guy that defensive coordinator Carl Pelini loves because he plays the run so well, Craig.
Well, Blaine Gabbert wasn't absolutely attacking him, putting pressure on him to do anything, was he? He let him cover 2 guys with 1 body.
The ends are pretty good here, too. That Hackles get the hype, but they think Pierre Allen could be the next great one at that position for Nebraska.
Former Colorado High School basketball player of the year.
On third down, Gabbert steps up and delivers a clutch throw. Catch made near the marker. Mario Alexander was spotting the ball right on the yellow line. It should be a first down. It is.
Mario Alexander is the big weapon for Missouri, particularly on third down. At 6'5", he's got a lot of range, can make a lot of tricky catches.
Had the 4 catches early. That's his first grab since the first quarter. None of them for very long yardage.
It's a great story, Alexander. We talked about beating out Jeremy Macklin in 2007. He had 3 knee surgeries.
And a broken wrist as well. Ball batted down, and the big man rolling around on the ground there as Barry Turner had a chance for a pick 6.
Barry Turner, he has 3 tackles for losses, so he's used to playing behind the line of scrimmage, but he will have nightmares about that.
Blaine Gabbert didn't even get time to have the laces, just try to shoot it out there real quick. It's not just hard for the wide receivers to catch passes tonight, Chris.
Blaine still hasn't thrown a pick in his career, but he was very lucky. That play could have turned this whole thing around. On 2nd and 10, Alexander hammered. Is it a catch and a fumble? No signal. Now they rule incomplete. Alfonso Denard hammered him.
Missouri might be one of the best teams in the country throwing these slip screens out to these wide receivers, but it's tough to account for a lot of pass rush and a very aggressive, ferocious secondary coming up quick on these balls.
2 times now we've seen Nebraska come up really quickly, strongly, and pursue and hit the receiver. But I don't know.
It's very close to having possession and a fumble, and they'll stop the game to review it. I'll trot over to check.
The game clock needs to be reset to 7:14. 7:14.
So it's not a review. Tigers fell on the ball anyway. The clock in the stadium reads 6:58. They want to put about 16 more seconds on it.
But going back to that play, I'm not so sure he didn't have possession of that football. What'd you guys think?
It looked like he had it to cop back when he got hit.
His back was to our cameras. It was tough to tell, but again, Missouri fell on the ball.
I can't say enough about Nebraska's defense and how they have kept their football team in this game. They're playing like the defense that they want to be as a unit, not just one guy, but like the old black shirt.
You know what, though, Craig? You're right. They don't have the black shirt. That's a good point. They've needed to earn that right back. Great tradition where the defensive players are earned that right, wore the black shirts in practice. They took that away last year. There are no black shirts right now. Edwards fires high. Catch made in traffic, but short of the first down is Alexander this time as Larry Asante, who's there to wrap him up.
That's a great play by senior strong safety Larry Asante, understanding where the first down marker is, making the play in front of him, securing the tackle.
It's been a misadventure for the Huskers on special teams. That ball off the heel of one of the blockers. Missouri couldn't do anything with that. Say they've used a couple different punt returners. Each guy has muffed one, and Nebraska's been lucky to retain possession. So here's Jay Carey, the fourth again. The low line drive kick, bouncing very near a Cornhusker. They managed to get away that time. Mokamara very nearly had that touch him, and this rolls dead all the way at the 11-yard line. So special teams edge for Missouri, 57 yards on that one, very nearly another muff or field position for that struggling Nebraska offense. The Flintstones in the house. It's been kind of Stone Age football. These teams have combined for just 253 total yards, 6:19 to play in this third quarter, and Nebraska has to be careful at their own 11-yard line. Hello, Jr. dropped in the backfield. Will Ebner, that linebacker, making up for that 15-yard penalty in the previous possession.
You know what? And once again, you're going to see a linebacker. I think it's right here. It's going to come clean right through.
Just beats the running back to the hole, and Will Ebner, a guy who had to replace the starter Luke Lambert here the last couple weeks. He's been unbelievable as a replacement. How about Nebraska, guys? Only 2 series this game where they've run more than 4 plays.
We got 96 yards of offense on 45 plays tonight. Lee pulls it, keeps it. Ebner tracks him down again. Good-looking sophomore linebacker from Texas, like so many of these Missouri Tigers.
33 different players from the state of Texas on this Missouri football team, and they've really done a great job, Gary Pinkel and his staff, of going in and finding players that can run. Only 7 up here in the box, Jesse, and they're smushing Nebraska.
And Craig, we've been talking all night how good Nebraska's looked on defense. Dave Steckel's squad right now, they're up to the task.
And it was not a strong defense a year ago. There's a whole bunch of fresh faces in 09 playing very well. 3rd and 13. Tigers believe that the Nebraska lineman flinched. And they're right. Half the distance. Tough night for those guys up front for Nebraska. They felt like they'd have a big edge against this Missouri defensive line.
On the road, loud environment, difficult to hear the quarterback, hear the cadence, and it's hurt them so far tonight.
Well, Missouri's players were quick to tell us, all in unison, how important this game was to show the country that they're not a one-and-done organization. But this football team wants to be considered a top 20 team every year, not just only when Chase Daniel and Jeremy Macklin were here.
Yeah, consistent double-digit Big 12 type contender. They look like one so far in this game. 3rd and 17, and Lee's standing in his end zone here. It's a little quarterback draw, and he's hammered at the 6. Spoon came up and leveled him. That Butkus finalist from a year ago, leading tackler on this defense.
Go back to what you guys were just talking about. You know, this is a defense and a team that feels disrespected. Here's a way to get a lot of that back when you're leading tackler and team leader on defense, making big plays in critical situations.
A lot more punting than running and passing.
I have never seen a graphic like that. That's great.
It's a pretty good punt. Geddes is back in the game as the returner. Fields it at the 50. Skips down the sideline. Still going inside the 35. Kind of a sneaky return in traffic.
And a huge play for the special teams of Missouri. Nebraska's been having all these issues tonight, kicking the ball, fielding kicks. Missouri on special teams now with an opportunity when they got Nebraska backed up. Make a big play in the return game.
Well, the defense has been getting the job done. The special teams and the offense have not. At some point, Missouri is going to put the boot and kick him to the curb eventually in this game.
Kick him to sleep.
They only netted 28 yards after the 16-yard return by Geddes. Washington. It's a little bit of a crease. Brought down from behind there by big Mr. Sue. By the way, he said that's what he calls his father, who was born in Africa. Yes, sir, Mr. Sue is what he says to his dad. Respectful.
Well, I think a lot of the linemen from Missouri should be calling him Mr. Sue right now. He's had his way with everybody up front.
Feed Washington again. Same play, stiff arm, big hit, and a flag down at the tackle. And Mukamara wrestled him down, then we'll check the marker. So many crucial flags hurting both offenses tonight.
Personal foul, face mask on a defense number 21. Half the distance of the ball, automatic, first down.
This is on Mukamara.
This is what happens when a defense is asked to be on the field play after play. Eventually something negative happens, and Missouri's offense is going to, sometime they're going to come up and make a play and put it in the end zone.
This is where both these teams need to be so poised. A big drive for Missouri heading in. They can't afford penalties like what happened earlier to them in the game and move them back. Nebraska with their backs to the wall, they can't compound the problem with dumb penalties like that.
Woman was ruled a 15-yarder, not a 5-yarder. Empty backfield. Here comes the pressure. Gabbard wisely throws it away, and there's a flag down at the line of scrimmage. Pierre Allen, off the defensive edge, was pressuring the quarterback.
Potentially back-to-back penalties here for Nebraska's D.
Offside. Defense number 99. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Barry Turner, the end.
A little tweak in this Missouri game plan tonight was the offensive line. They'd been wide in their splits. They came back tight earlier. They've gone back wide tonight, trying to spread out some of those great defensive linemen.
You saw Turner there. He had a chance to turn this game around. Couldn't collect the Gabbard pass. Could have waltzed in the end zone. Instead, Missouri trying to build on its lead, and Washington weaving through traffic. Picks up a couple. One play could have really switched things, but again, they've had very few opportunities, Nebraska.
Well, especially on offense, they really had none. And so they're waiting for something good to happen. Right now, Missouri, I like the play calling, running the football, sticking with it on the ground.
9-0, and knowing Nebraska can do nothing offensively.
Tigers spread him out on 2nd and 4. Washington running to his right. Flag comes down again as Washington gets 1st and goal yardage, but that's in the holding zone.
Oh, Missouri's going to be sick.
Holding on the offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
It's big Curtis Gregory, the senior leader up there, very smart guy, farmer.
Yeah, he's a hog farmer, and we hate to call him out on this thing here.
He was wrestling a hog to the ground there. Is that the form you use when you wrestle a hog?
He got him to the ground, and you can do that in hog pen. You can use your hands and hold and everything, but you can't do it on the football field.
But Curtis Gregory, a guy that graduated in May of last year with a degree in agriculture, he's a 2nd-year grad student.
He was talking PTOs and all things about tractors.
He was getting all technical, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Farming stuff. Tigers' 7th penalty backs him up. Gabbard fires over the middle, almost intercepted again. Asante cut in front, couldn't come up with it. Another opportunity to make a play for the defense, and they can't do it.
You know, Missouri hasn't necessarily been pushing the football downfield that much either, and because of that, these safeties are able to squat. Larry Asante, a senior, he had a big interception for a return in their last win against Louisiana Lafayette. He's just watching Blaine Gabbard's eyes breaking on the ball.
Empty backfield again on 3rd and 12. Gabbard fires, almost intercepted by Sue. He dropped into coverage from his tackle position right at him.
You know what? I can probably assure you that they will have the jugs machines out. Look at Sue in the middle of your screen, 93, dropping back, reading the eyes. We've seen 3 tonight, haven't we?
How surprised are you that Demicon Sue's not rushing? How about that call from Carl Pelini?
Here's a guy at 300 pounds that's taken a couple of picks to the house last year. Would have been a long run for him there. Grant Russell had missed his first field goal of the season earlier tonight. Missed that one left. Sneaks this one through from 33 yards. And Missouri goes up 12-0 with 1:26 in the 3rd.
12's a lot better than 16. Obviously,
it could have been. It could have been 16 though for Missouri. Holding penalty to get the ball down in 1st and goal, and another penalty shoots them in the foot.
Nebraska, a couple of opportunities to come up with picks on that possession. Blaine Gabbard is a charmed guy. Still hasn't thrown one, but he's had a couple bounce-off guys. Mr. Sue's been active. The tackle that caused the ankle problem for Gabbard early.
And he does everything you ask of a defensive tackle. He gets in the backfield, causes pressure on the quarterback, makes tackles in the backfield, hurries quarterbacks, knocks passes down. They drop him in coverage. He's such a great athlete, and it's why so many NFL scouts are drooling.
Can they ask him to throw it or catch it on the offense?
Short yardage goal line. If you could get down there, I'd ask him to go on in and help him.
How about return punts?
How about deep snap? Maybe take a snap, throw the ball.
Tanner Mills to kick off. It's a very high, short kick. Fielded and went out of bounds at the 31-yard line by Ben Cotton. Aaron?
So what's the difference with this Missouri defense this year? You guys mentioned communication. Defensive coordinator Dave Steckel said they're on the same page. Why? He credits this wristband, which sometimes could be used as a glove when it's... But he said he had them wear them the very first day of practice, has them wear them to sleep, says you have to know the plays on them. And they change these out, guys. You know that from quarter to quarter, sometimes half to half. He's constantly having them look down. He wants communication. He wants them talking. He said, quote unquote, this ain't a library. Don't be quiet. I don't care if they hear you. Wants them on the same page.
Aaron, they've been on the same page tonight. It was a problem last year. They didn't communicate well on defense, so this is the remedy that Steckel came up with. And every single call, there's a number that corresponds to one of the blitzes and the coverages.
Chris, you just mentioned they did have a lot of problems last year. Guys couldn't communicate, couldn't get lined up properly. This year they've been doing a good job of that heading into the game. Only 8 plays of 20-plus yards.
You saw him 10 right there, so now everybody looks down, and it forces them to communicate. Look at the secondary. Everybody's hollering, talking to each other. They know what each one's responsibilities are.
And 10 means something different this half than it meant last half, because Steck's a paranoid guy like a lot of coaches. They pitch it to Burkhead, and the young guy cut down, and it'll be 3rd and short. A little urgency for Nebraska, wouldn't you agree? In this possession, down 12 now, clock ticking inside 30 seconds in the 3rd quarter.
The rain has let up.
I promised Aaron it would stop raining.
Nebraska, even though she's already soaked, Fowler.
Maybe a little late to make this crowd feel better, but the Huskers, by the way, fellas, finally over 100 yards total offense as the final seconds of the quarter tick away. $105. That's it. Lee pressured, gets it away. It's Burkhead trying to make a man miss. Just does fight for a first down to the 42 before Alden Smith got to Lee. So with a second to go in the 3rd quarter, as soon as they move the chains, they'll run the clock, and we'll see if the Huskers have a 4th quarter rally in their future, or if Missouri will beat their rivals for the 3rd straight year. Well, 1 quarter left for Nebraska to get something going on offense. Try to rally against Missouri. Crucial game. Both teams kicking off their Big 12 campaign, and the leader really gets the inside track to win the North Division. Lee fires. It's complete. Kyler Reed, a short gain.
You know, it's funny, Craig. We talk to these Missouri players, and they feel disrespected. It's almost as if they're playing with a chip on their shoulder.
And that's a good thing. And also the fact that Gary Pinkel has this motivational booklet that he passes out to all of them, so that they really stay focused on the game and on the process of preparing for a big game. I mean, motivation through Pinkel, the players, it works together.
It's all kind of new agey, isn't it? That manual with the different philosophies. As Lee is pressured and fires on the far side. Caught for a very short gain by Gilliland.
Yeah, that book they're talking about, it's called We Are Mizzou. And every player gets one at the start of training camp, and it's something that Coach Pinkel refers to. It's about the psychology of competing and how to focus and handle game situations.
And off the field stuff too, right? Just
absolutely.
How to handle adversity, disappointments. Got it from Don James when he was out at Washington. I mean, this guy's put together a book through the years of things that work psychologically.
And he refers to it almost every week, even during the season. Brainwashing their players to think the same way, to compete.
Don James, Pinkel's mentor here tonight. Would mean a lot for Pinkel to shut out Nebraska in front of Coach James. Lee on 3rd and 8. Steps up, takes a shot down the middle of the field, and has a man wide open. Niles Paul. Touchdown. 56 yards. The Huskers finally strike and finally get on the board.
The best throw of the night from Zach Lee. The rain is stopped, the ball is dry, and it shows.
The rain's back, actually, but it was a pretty good throw.
We're up here in the booth. I can't see it, ball.
Stick to sports analysis, friend. Your weather stuff's kind of... But you know what? It's the first ball we've seen down the middle of the field and deep.
And Robert Steeples is the backup corner there. Beaten badly up the middle. And the Huskers, very first play of the final quarter, draw within 5 after doing almost nothing all night.
Stepping up in the pocket, plenty of time to deliver in a very rainy atmosphere. Touchdown, Cornhuskers. Ball game now.
So Nebraska exceeds half of their yardage total the entire night with this touchdown pass.
Watch this play here. Krinsky-Gilliland's just going to run an in route. That's going to force the safety Jasper Simmons to bite on it, and that allows a big post throw down the outside of the field to a wide open Niles Paul.
One of the 3 key words defensive coordinator Steckel said yesterday was, don't get beat over the top. And I mean, you can hear him saying it time and time again, got beat over the top, stay deep.
Finally a spark on that Nebraska sideline, and now this Husker defense will try to get the ball back. A little pressure on Gabbert in this Missouri offense all of a sudden in a 5-point game. Simmons, the safety, who just jumped that route, a chance to redeem himself on the kickoff return. But he gets thumped at the 20. Let's go back to Kevin now for SportsCenter right now.
Chris, the Cards were 1 out away from evening their series with the Dodgers, but Matt Holliday could not catch this fly ball in the 9th inning, keeping the Dodgers' hopes alive. 4 batters later, Mark Loretta ends it with a walk-off single off Ryan Franklin. L.A. wins 3-2. They lead the series 2-zip. In Anaheim, Torrey Hunter, 3-run blast off John Lester, has the Angels right now up 3-0 in the bottom of the 6th against the Red Sox. Next SportsCenter coming up after the game. Guys?
There's an interception on first down. Big Nakawakawa Sue caught up the ball. Gabbert fired over the middle into traffic, and it had to happen sooner or later. The first pick of his college career comes at a bad time.
In the middle of the screen, and here he is. You see him just standing there, reading the eyes, up and jumps. What, is that an athlete or what?
But it's a great decision. He knows he's not going to get to the quarterback here, so he just stops in his tracks, jumps up. He dropped an interception on a much easier catch earlier. He snags this one out of the air.
Chris, you just said it. Gabbert's got the pressure on him now to do something to keep the ball with Missouri. He didn't get it done.
Crucial mistake in the first down throw. Now the pressure shifts over to the Missouri defense as the Huskers take over at the 18. Halou breaks a tackle, dives for about 7. What a turnaround here. Just a matter of a few seconds.
It's all it takes. I'll tell you what, Zach Lee right now, I bet is feeling it right now. That big throw just raises his confidence here at this point of the game.
You know who needs to feel it? The offensive line. That offensive line has not felt it all night. Missouri's manhandled them. It's time, if they want to win this game, to get in a mustache of that Missouri defense.
Lee loops it for the end zone. Jump ball in traffic. Caught. Touchdown. Niles Paul again. 2 touchdowns in 2 minutes, and Lee is feeling it. Nebraska stunningly takes the lead.
Offensive coordinator Sean Watson said he wanted to see his junior quarterback grow up in this football game, and within 3 plays, we've seen him just do that.
Blown assignment of the secondary. Paul gets loose for a touchdown. Sue makes the pick on Missouri's first offensive play following. And now the Huskers in a couple of plays have taken a 13-12 lead and will go for 2.
Okay, now interesting here. There's no play clock on the field right now because of problems, right? So they're out there. You do not want to have a delay of game. They're a little tardy getting the huddle to go on.
Paul coming in motion and a penalty. Husker lineman on the right side there flinch. That's DJ Jones, the backup tackle.
On the offense, number 73, 5-yard penalty. Replay the try.
You know, up by 1, the book says you go for 2. Do you still do that? Yep. Look back from the 8-yard line?
Still go. Give you a little more room. What does the 1 do for you? A little more room to work with.
Well, in case you have a safety.
Seen a safety already today.
Did I open myself up there? Y'all just jump and move. Love you guys.
Lee looking left side, fires in the end zone. It was broken up. He was looking for Paul again. So still just a 1-point lead. 2 touchdown receptions. Lee to Niles Paul, sandwiched around big Mr. Sue's pick, the first of Gabbert's career.
I thought Paul's catch right here, the ability to stay in there, focus in between 2 guys, outstanding play.
Now Missouri gets the ball back down for the first time tonight. They have an ice cream laboratory here. It focuses on sensory analysis, flavor chemistry, and food engineering. That's Tiger Stripe signature flavor here. You know, the Tigers and their faithful stunned because Nebraska has taken a lead for the first time, 13-12. Now we want to see how Gabbert's going to respond, Jesse. Hadn't thrown a pick in his young college career. It was a bad one. It set up a go-ahead touchdown for Nebraska. How's he going to come back?
You cannot be gun-shy right now if you're Blaine Gabbert.
Kick bobbled. Finally, they gain possession. Get out to the 30-yard line. Jarrell Jackson. Another reminder, Sunday, NASCAR. Tony Stewart back in the hunt following the win in Kansas. Mark Martin, Jimmy Johnson. Thing heads to California, the Pepsi 500, Sunday, 2:30 Eastern Time. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
All right, Missouri, 2 first downs in this half. One of those by a penalty. What are they going to do to make up something against this Nebraska defense?
Well, they hand it to Washington in the first play after the interception, and he doesn't get anything.
Talking earlier about these Missouri players that don't feel respected. Well, here's an opportunity now, playing against a dominant defense. Now you're down in the 4th quarter, playing at home. Go earn some of that respect right now.
It's a challenge for a first-year starting quarterback and a team that has a lot of new faces. They got to be a little bit shell-shocked at the moment. And it's Washington all the way to the bottom of the formation. Gabbert fires. A flag comes down. Gomes was defending. Tried to get it to Alexander. Now won't check the marker. It's going to be against the Tigers. They're asking Bo Pelini what he wants to do. Accept it. And he says, yeah, we'll send him back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Personal foul. Hands to the face on the offense, number 93. 15-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Well, they said number 93. They confusion. I think it was against a Missouri lineman defending number 93, Sue.
Well, look, now they're saying it might be against Nebraska.
There was wow. Oh, there's total confusion by the officials there. It's a Bo doesn't. Wait a minute. I thought it was on them.
Well, yeah. What are you asking me?
So it was on 93. Mamakong Sue apparently, despite the incorrect indication. That's a huge difference.
See Mamakong Sue here working against the center. He gets kind of in the wash versus 2 players. It just looks like he's kind of pushing guys off him.
This is Washington fighting near midfield. That's a 30-yard difference. It gives Missouri a first out of the 45 instead of being pinned deep. And that wasn't much, huh?
No, but that call still's got me.
That's what I mean. That call wasn't much.
No, wasn't much for the call to be made.
No.
I didn't see it.
He's still arguing it right now.
I tell you, sometimes your hands get inside, and if they slide up off the pads and hit the helmet or face, that doesn't mean you're blowing to the head.
Low snap. Gabbert fires. Intercepted. Intercepted on the sidelines. Gomes trying to navigate. Tackled by an offensive lineman inside the 10, and Gabbert, who went 4 games without a pick, all of a sudden they're coming in bunches here in the 4th quarter.
And you know what, Jesse, Chris and I are sitting here, and we've asked you about a quarterback. Okay, it's in his head a little bit. The out ball is a pick 6 waiting to happen here. What's up?
If you don't throw it on time, it sure is. And there, Blaine Gabbert late getting to the throw. To compound the problem, he throws this behind his wide receiver and low, and that allows Gomes to pick that up. We've seen a lot of receivers drop balls here tonight, guys, but what about Gomes' ability plucking that thing on the ground?
Now Missouri's defense will have to try to stiffen as Gabbert A bit shaken over there. Back-to-back interceptions. Consecutive throws. Kalu, first and goal, picks his way for a couple.
Now, that, Fowler, is the Nebraska formation we've seen many years. Two tights, single back. I'm coming after you. I'm in your face.
It's what they've built their identity upon historically. Right now, they have not always played poised so far in this game. They cannot afford penalties, push themselves back. They need points. So this is not a one-possession game.
Got a couple of tight ends in the game. Lee firing for the end zone, looking for Paul again, and a jump ball. That time, touchdown maker, well defended by Simmons and Kevin Rutland.
It looked like Zach Lee was getting a little bit greedy there. He wanted it all. He's been feeling it. He's thrown 2 touchdown passes. He had a guy wide open underneath, didn't he?
Yeah, but you know, I was getting greedy in my thoughts too. That go for 6, get 6. But then when you stop and look back and you think about it, hold on a second here. A field goal is big in this game.
Makes it a 4-point game.
What makes us think of Missouri? They've shown nothing, no reason for us to think that they're going to go down the field and score on Nebraska.
Freshman Burkhead, tailback in the I formation. Paul comes in motion. Lee rolls, looks back to his left, flips it to a wide open man for a touchdown, Mike McNeil. The tight end got lost in traffic. And 3 touchdown passes by Lee in the 4th quarter. All within 3:22.
That was really on the quarterback, Zach Lee. Mike McNeil really struggled getting out of the wash to fight a way across the field here. Zach Lee just had to buy time, and allow his guy a chance.
What a great call by Sean Watson. Nice call.
Sure was. So Nebraska twice converting Gabbert interceptions into touchdowns. It's an 8-point game, still just 1 possession with 10:34 to play.
But you got one team with a quarterback with a little confidence. You got another one wearing black jerseys. They're looking for their guy.
See Mike McNeil, that touchdown sweet for the guy who grew up in the St. Louis area, as lightning quick a turnaround in a football game as you will ever see.
This is a great call here by offensive coordinator Sean Watson. He's going to try to get his tight end across the line of scrimmage, but he's actually getting held there, so the play takes a little longer than Zach Lee would have liked.
He's being held because they know that tight end delay, he was holding me. Man, he was holding me big time. I didn't think he'd let go. But that's what that defensive lineman's supposed to do. He knows he cannot let him cross back inside on the tight end special, tight end delay. Y'all used to call it something else, but it's basically a delay.
Yeah, it was an oh-no screen. It was actually a different word. It was an oh-blank screen.
Couple of short touchdown drives, 18 yards and 10 yards for Nebraska following the interceptions. This is Jasper Simmons. Had a little crease, but it closed up quickly, and Mizzou will start at the 25-yard line. Regional action Saturday, 3:30 Eastern time. Crucial one in the Big Ten. Badgers trying for some respect. They've gone Terrell Pryor in Ohio State. That's a big one. And then you get Baylor, Oklahoma, Oregon, UCLA, and Connecticut, Pittsburgh.
John Clay from Wisconsin leading the Big Ten in rushing right now with 116 yards a game. That Ohio State defense, though, in the last 3 weeks, they've given up 38 rushing yards per contest. They're stout.
Watching Wisconsin last week play, it looks like Brett Bielema's team's got their energy back. Remember they started out, had all those illnesses?
Well, Scott Tolzien, too, a quarterback that very few expected to win the job, has been a very efficient passer. It's not just Clay running. They're throwing the ball pretty well, too.
Yeah, he looked great against Michigan State, didn't he?
Against Minnesota, he came back, got that win.
Absolutely.
Graham Stoddard, the freshman on the field for Nebraska.
All right, Craig, so here you are. You're Missouri. You haven't had any success moving the football recently against Nebraska. What are you thinking we'll be doing?
Well, you know for a fact that they're going to only rush 4 on you. Now he has to throw the ball. He has to stick with it.
Remember that Gabbert led the nation coming into this game, efficiency in the second half. Tonight, 3 of 11, 2 picks after halftime. Complete reversal of fortune. The young guy has to be stunned out there.
Yeah, well, yeah.
This time they keep it. And McGippy ankle. He's able to get about 5 yards. He scored Missouri's only touchdown on the final play of that first half. Hand warmer on the field. But again, this guy, there's going to be times when a first-year starting quarterback looks like it, and it's been one of those nights.
Well, Gary Pinkel, the head coach, said he's the type of quarterback that gets really down on himself. He can't afford to do that right now.
Gabbert fires far side. Short completion. Gets some confidence back. It was Jarrell Jackson, the sophomore.
Very nice throw, and that just showed. We had dinner last night with Chase Daniel, the former great quarterback here, and Chase is good friends with him and said, hey, Gabbert, he's a beast now. He wants to get after you. So he has to show that mental toughness right now in this game.
Here's Washington cutting it back to the left, and it's a pretty good gain on first down.
Chase Daniel said that about him. We asked those other players on Missouri about their quarterback and what they keep talking about: winning attitude, competitor. He has a chance to really prove those qualities to his team here right now.
Said he was hyper in spring ball, as you might expect, wanting so badly to fill in for Daniel to show there would be no drop off at the position. He's learned to calm down since then, but this is by far the most pressure he's faced in his young career. Buying time, and now a late scamper on the sidelines. They'll spot him near the first down marker at the 46. Remember, they did rally from 14 down in the second half against Bowling Green, but Bowling Green didn't have Mr. Sue.
I don't like this. Now, it's a good change of pace, but you're seeing now Nebraska really playing soft on their rush, kind of just sitting back, right? They're not pinning their ears and going after him in the pocket.
Gabbert able to tiptoe for a first down. Inside of 9 minutes, 8-point game. Hand it off to Devin Moore, and Missouri starting to pop some gains now. Nebraska just sitting back, relaxing a bit on defense.
I'm seeing that. You, Jesse? A little bit. It's a little bit soft, a little hesitant sometimes. And Devin Moore, a guy who's only 5'9", 195, talked to Coach Yost, the offensive coordinator. He said, you know, for a little guy, he runs like a big one. And then you see him right there. He gets north, really makes those tough yards.
He's had a high ankle sprain, hasn't been in the last 3 ball games much. Gabbert thought about running quickly, then kind of hesitated, and Sue tracks him down, and here comes a flag on the tackle.
Like maybe a horse collar.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle on a defense number 93, 15 yards.
It's the second major penalty on Sue.
It's bittersweet, really. I mean, he's made some big plays. He's also had some big penalties here. The athleticism's unbelievable. Just kind of pulling that jersey on the quarterback.
It's one of the new points of emphasis in recent years. Nebraska over 100 yards in penalties now. This moves the ball to the 31.
You hear Bo Pelini saying he's grabbing his jersey. He did not have the top of the shoulder pads coming back. Did he get the back of the jersey, or was it the top collar of that jersey?
Moore trying to cut back. He gets cut down after about a 3-yard gain. Have a look at this. Is this a horse collar, or is he just grabbing the jersey? He's strong enough to pull you down just from the jersey.
Yeah, good point. Very good point.
It looks like he goes high on the back, and it's tough to see. But there, at the very end of that, it was his right hand that had the jersey, right? Watch. He grabs him by the shoulder pad. That looks like he's got him behind the shoulder.
It was jersey.
Yeah.
Jersey.
Well, Sue won't like either penalty call against him here in the fourth quarter. On second down, Gabbert fires far sideline. Diving catch made. Jarrell Jackson a couple yards short of a first down. Good effort.
Wayne Gabbert looking really good on this drive so far, in rhythm, making throws. He's had to make a couple plays with his feet.
Well, and his receiver just made a play with his feet. If he did indeed drag those feet in bounds.
Missouri still trying to go up tempo here. We wondered how Gabbert would respond after a couple of picks, and now a whistle. Nebraska fans cheering because they believe this play will be reviewed.
Play is under further review.
And we'll check and see if Jackson got those feet in bounds.
Well, they've gone back to the well twice on this play. Throws it out in front nicely. He leaves way before he gets out of bounds. Just a matter of does he have possession.
Did the elbow come down?
Yeah.
The feet weren't.
Good point.
Perfectly parallel to the ground right there.
Point of the elbow.
Oh, maybe. Left elbow in the green.
It's a great catch.
It's a tough call, though, because the forearm came down, and it was part of it on the white, out of bounds.
They ruled it a catch. There needs to be indisputable evidence to overturn this.
But in the meantime, Gabbard has looked pretty good on this drive, helped by the running game. Some nice gains on first down.
They have a little bit of balance, really. But we also mentioned it, guys. Nebraska defensively has been kind of taking their foot off the gas a little bit. I think that's made a bit of a difference, too.
I didn't like that.
This crew's been busy tonight. Total of 18 penalties, 11 of them on the Cornhuskers. Another look. Keep an eye on the forearm of Jackson here.
Yeah.
Does he have possession?
Yeah, the elbow comes down maybe on the green, and the forearm hits out of bounds.
It looked like there, too, from that angle, maybe the football kind of touched the ground almost.
Yeah.
It's a great effort, though. Look at him stretching out for that.
There have been some tough, close calls for the review officials tonight. Notably that touchdown at the end of the half.
Right there, looks like the football touches the ground.
After further review, ruling on the field is confirmed. Completed catch. Third down.
I like when they say that the ruling is confirmed, and maybe there just wasn't enough evidence to overturn it.
Yeah.
They're splitting hairs. It sets up a much more makeable third down, though. They need 2 yards.
Well, while you're down here, I know what you guys are thinking along with me. This is 2-down territory, right? You may not get back down here again. Keep the football in your possession.
Provided you don't lose yardage on this play. And there's a whistle. And Nebraska will spend a timeout.
First charge, the second half.
Pelini didn't like something he saw right before the snap. And he's not afraid to use timeouts on defense like a lot of those head coaches with defensive backgrounds. The offense doesn't have to use all the timeouts. They can have a couple. Crucial 3rd and 2 play coming up for Missouri. Now trailing by 8 points. The Huskers with 20 points in this 4th quarter on 3 touchdown passes from Lee. Devin Moore is the back in the game to the right of Gabbard. He's got it. Penetration, and he's dropped for a loss. Alfonso Denard came in there, and now, after a risky running play, Missouri faces a decision. It'll be 4th and about 7.
You can see it on Gary Pinkel's face. Oh, man.
Worst possible situation.
But you know what? You said it, Chris, during the commercial break there. Bo Pelini not afraid to call timeout and save it. He's not conceding going for 3rd and 2. We're going to stop you.
Said 4-down territory, but now Pinkel's offense needs 6 yards. Instead of trying to cut this to a 5-point game, they will go for it.
4 defenders on 3 here at the bottom of the screen. 3 defenders on 2 at the top.
They bring pressure and a misfire across the middle, and here come a couple of flags. There he is, Sante said, what did they do? He got there a bit early on the tight end, Andrew Jones.
Well, the line judge threw a flag. He was standing about 40 yards away from that thing.
Nebraska pleading that the pass was uncatchable.
Pass interference on a defense number 4. Ball be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
But that huge penalty right there, huh?
Yeah, you know, the pressure coming now. There have been 4 almost calls. That is pass interference.
And very catchable.
There have been 4 really close in the middle of the field that Nebraska has not had called against them. Finally, Missouri gets a call.
Penalty number 12 on the Huskers is costly. Gabbard rolling. Just heaves the ball out of bounds. A lefty throw on the run. Wow. And there's another flag down.
On the offense, number 66. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Austin Webbles held Jared Crick to find tackle. And he'll give back 10.
Yeah, you know what? You're going to see him over the left side, left guard. Hands up on that right shoulder pad.
Ooh, he get his money's worth.
Yeah. Easy call.
Yeah.
How about Blaine Gabbert right here, though, running out of bounds, just putting the football in his left hand and just saying, I'm getting rid of this.
But what a big call. Penalty. What a humongous one.
20 penalties in the game now.
Yeah, now for 100 yards in Missouri penalty yardage. 1st and 20. Gabbert feels a little pressure. Still looking for somebody, now just has to throw it away. Pierre Allen got in his face.
Okay. You see what Nebraska's defensive line's doing now? They're pushing the pocket. They're forcing Gabbert out of the pocket with a gimpy ankle.
We talked about that earlier. That's the best thing to do. Don't let him sit back in the pocket and just step up. Force him on the perimeter where he has to make plays. The Missouri receivers right now not doing a great job coming back for their quarterback when he's scrambling.
Huskers rush 4. This time Gabbert has plenty of time. Fires downfield into the end zone, and it'll be well over the end line. Alexander was the man he was looking for.
Nebraska defensive line did it again. They had ends stunning inside to get pressure up the middle, forcing Blaine again outside.
But again, I'll take your role. The receivers did nothing for it. This is a well-conditioned defensive line, that's for certain tonight. Nebraska's D-line has played an outstanding football game.
Gabbert on 3rd and 20, fires over the middle. It was off the hands of Gomes, who had the interception earlier. He was covering Perry. Gabbert's limp getting worse now as it's 4th and 20.
You see that pressure on the left side over there, Chris? You know, that Nebraska defensive line, they're relentless.
It's the same stunt we've seen now on the last 2 snaps. And again, Blaine Gabbert having issues stepping into the pocket, trying to deliver these balls accurately downfield.
So Pickle trying to get his offense to stay upbeat, facing long odds here and long yardage on 4th down.
Now it's okay to play soft. Keep it in front of you.
Gabbert doesn't want to get sacked. Fires downfield. Even if you're not going to convert the 4th down, you don't want to get tackled at midfield. So 4 straight incompletions, the holding penalty, and the drive stalls with 5:24 to play.
How about Nebraska's defense right there, making a stand late? Now, they had the football taken down the field on them, but they make a stand. Now, look at the taunting coming up right here now. Blaine Gabbert gets knocked in the sidelines. A couple guys jarring at him. Referees all over that. You see coaches trying to get guys back.
Yeah, you don't need Chris Brooks. It was a receiver just hanging out on the bench to get in his ear.
That's a receiver for you, isn't it, Jesse? Chris? They're like yard birds, man. Just chirp, chirp, chirp.
Easy to chirp when you're on the sidelines like that.
Brooks, another guy that this game means a lot to. He comes from St. Louis. Malou, short gain up the middle as the Huskers try to chew on the clock.
But right now, if you're Nebraska offensively, you're Sean Watson, the offensive coordinator, you're running the football, getting this clock wound down. Zach Lee's now throwing 3 touchdown passes in the last 3 possessions, but just run the ball, Craig.
Run the ball, but the offensive line's got to do the push up front, right? You know you're going to be bunched up there with Missouri. And if you're Missouri, watch out, though, at play action. We've already seen Sean Watson pull out one little tight end.
Run the ball.
I know. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Malou is stumbling. Able to eventually turn the corner and gain a couple of yards. It'll be 3rd and short.
You'd like Halou there, though, to stay in bounds, wouldn't you? I mean, understand the situation in the game right now. Don't freeze the clock. Yeah, you want to get all the yards you can, but not at the expense of the clock still running.
They'll wind it now after the ball is positioned.
Big 3rd and 2 here for Missouri's D.
You think?
I'm really good with the weather.
This crowd is stunned, are they not?
Yeah, it's quiet.
They thought they had this one in the bag.
Big play for the Mizzou defense. Trying to get the football back. Halou hesitates, fights now toward the marker. It'll be close. Luke Lambert rode him to the ground. Second effort may have gotten him the 1st down. Barely. Yes, it is a 1st down for Nebraska.
tough running by Roy Halou Jr. on this. Looked like he was stoned in the back, but Craig, you talked about it earlier, that leg drive when he gets behind his pads.
Absolutely. And the left guard that time, Keith Williams, coming around, finding the linebacker.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating night for the top running back. Has a crucial 2 yards and keeps the clock moving. Missouri still has the 3 timeouts. Burkhead spelling Halou now, tailback. And 3 tight ends for the Huskers. Burkhead hammers forward. Big, crucial 7-yard gain on first down.
The old offensive lines at Nebraska were road graders. That's what they need to be right now in this final drive.
Wow, Zach Wiegert. Remember him?
Oh,
Zach
yeah.
covered Zach back in the 90s.
Zadiska, Wiegert, those guys part of the national championship offenses in the 90s.
Oh, you had those fullbacks too, Corey Schlesinger.
What would Wiegert say?
The Makovicka brothers. Great names.
And Nebraska inflicted so much pain on Missouri in that era. Mizzou has kind of owned this rivalry in recent years. Nebraska trying to turn the tables tonight. Burkhead stopped just short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and 1. Nebraska had a kind of a similar game against Virginia Tech on the road. They dominated the whole game. It was the Hokies who turned it around in stunning fashion, and Nebraska feels stole the game. Tonight, other side of the coin.
And how big would a win be for Bo Pelini? They're on the road. It's been 17 games now in a row against ranked opponents on the road. They've lost. Huge, huge game for this program.
Given what it means in the division race, again, the winner of this game is going on to win the Big 12 North each of the last 3 seasons.
Let's see if they pull that left guard around up in the ISO on the right side again.
Lee sneaks it for a first down. And this will take the clock inside of 2 minutes.
This Missouri defensive line really was having its way for the majority of the game with Nebraska's offense up front. But on this drive, Craig, they're bulldozing.
How many times have we watched football games when a team has dominated and really had opportunities, not taking advantage of those opportunities?
Well, Missouri to have any chance, Craig, they're going to have to make a play on first down. They can't even get in a position to use their timeouts because Nebraska's gaining big yards on first down.
It's been a really interesting quarter. I can't remember the last time a game flip-flopped the way this one did in the 4th.
Chris, it's hard to get penetration with a 2 tight slots and not be able to strip the ball behind the line of scrimmage.
Nebraska gives it to Halou. He breaks into the clear. Roy Halou Jr. in a foot race down inside the 5. Finally, the tailback breaking free. He says, forget about running out the clock. Let's build on this lead.
Roy Halou Jr. only had 42 yards coming up through that run. But, Craig, look at the vision when he sees this hole and puts his foot in the ground.
You know what I saw? I saw white jerseys manned up on black jerseys. Nobody coming clean. Short yardage goal line kind of defense. And when you can break that initial line, hey, it's a foot race.
Only had 42 all night. Had 41 on that run. 1st and goal at the 5. Halou tries to get the corner and stands up in the end zone. Grabbing his shoulder, went down hard in the previous play, didn't want to come out, scores the touchdown that secures a huge Nebraska road win tonight. We hope his shoulder's okay.
We'll give him a lot of credit for staying in the game right there. It's to tough this one out, but the speed beats everybody to the sideline. Last couple of runs now, Craig, gashers. No black jerseys around.
We saw in the first half all those black jerseys running free in the backfield.
What a 4th quarter for the Big Red, and the concern obviously for Halou, who I guess didn't cop to that injury from the previous play, stayed in there, carried the ball in that right arm around the corner. We now want to have that shoulder looked at, but 27 points in the final quarter for the Huskers.
It just exploded. There's been a lot of plays, that kind of turned the tide, and it was Damakong Sue's interception that really got this thing going.
Yeah, that defense, Nebraska's defense, kept them in this football game despite all the mishaps of the special teams, the snaps, the botched punt returns, and they kept them in the game.
It's an indication of a very well-coached team that believes in competing and playing the whole game. I mean, they gave you no reason to believe in the first 3 quarters this thing would even be a game.
There's a 56-yard play that ignited this stagnant offense. Had barely 100 yards all night. It's going to be a nice trip back to Lincoln, Nebraska, as the Huskers grab the pole position in the race for the division title.
Yep, absolutely. You know what we did see tonight, though, to answer the question we had coming in, Nebraska led the nation in scoring defense at 7 a game. I think they answered that question. They are for real.
Black shirts?
Well, yeah, Pelini's going to make them earn that in practice, though, isn't he?
We asked him if they have a big performance, you bring the black shirts back. He says, I want consistent performance over time. But this was pretty good tonight. Simmons dropped at the 25-yard line. Let's take a look at the intelligent move brought to you by Mercedes-Benz.
Well, Zach Lee, early on in the first half, there was not a lot going on for him. And I guess the intelligent move came from the defense taking care of him. And the big shot down the middle of the field, Jesse, this was something we hadn't seen the entire game. There it was.
And it just spiked his confidence. He came right back on the next possession with a touchdown, hung tough in the pocket to find his tight end for a 3rd score. Numbers weren't great heading into the 4th quarter, but you see his face. You see how he's feeling.
And this ties, by the way, the largest 4th quarter comeback in Nebraska history from 12 points down in 66 against Colorado. This will be a deflating loss for Missouri. Chance to move up in the rankings. Chance to beat Nebraska here in Columbia for the 4th straight time. It all comes unravels in the final 15 minutes. And a tough schedule ahead for Mizzou at Oklahoma State, Bryant or not, and then Texas comes in here.
But how about Bo Pelini talking about when he took over the job here at Nebraska, he wanted to create an environment of competing and a mental toughness week in and week out. I'll tell you what, I think his team really proved that if they're not there yet, they're certainly moving in that direction.
And certainly in the physical category. I mean, they played hard and they hit you tonight. And if this offense, I mean, it was raining hard, guys. And I mean, for most of this game, it's rained pretty hard.
There's a handoff. Washington catching Nebraska off guard with the long run out near midfield. As we go inside of 30 seconds, Mizzou will spend a timeout.
And how about Nebraska's quarterback, Zach Lee? Again, offensive coordinator Sean Watson wanted to see the maturation. Really struggled a few weeks ago at Virginia Tech in his first real test. Comes out here in this game, and boy, he looked good.
Guy that was a baseball player in high school, very lightly recruited, kind of a late bloomer, didn't get any Division I offers with them. Again, City College in San Francisco, and then connected with Nebraska. Came in the Callahan regime as the clock ticks down. So what a rally for the Cornhuskers. 4 touchdowns in the 4th quarter to erase a 12-point deficit. That big guy, Ndamukong Suh, and that defensive line stout up front.
Got my vote as an outstanding football player.
I'll tell you what, every team that has to play in Nebraska is going to have to deal with that defense, and they're going to have to deal with Ndamukong Suh.
That big guy said so much for the handshake. By the way, I'm out of here. He sprinted off the field. No post-game.
Hot dogs in the locker room. You know they got food in there, don't you, Crowd? They got food in there waiting for these guys.
And Gabbard, a game effort, he limped off, but the 2 interceptions looming large, setting up a pair of Husker touchdowns in the 4th quarter, the first 2 picks of his career. Tonight's Wrangler 5-star player of the game. It was big Mr. Suh. 6 tackles, had that critical interception in the 4th quarter. Also forced a fumble, a sack.
How many times have y'all ever watched a defensive lineman that could have had 2 interceptions in one game? He almost did.
Pelini's team rallies and Bo's with Aaron Andrews.
Thanks, Chris. Coach, you just said your team showed a lot of character. What does this comeback win mean on the road to your program right now?
It was a big win for us. Obviously, it's a Big 12 North game, but I'm just proud of our team, proud of the way they showed character. You know, things were going our way. They just hung in there and kept fighting. And we got things turned around. We got a couple big turnovers and beat a good football team in some tough conditions. And I'm proud of our team and on to the next one.
I feel like the guys in the booth all night were calling Mr. Suh's name in the 4th quarter. We know the story about Gabbard, how he comes back. How is your defense able to slow him down in the 2nd half?
Well, you know, we just kept, we played well up front. Our guys up front played their tails off. And, on the secondary, too, we front to back, we did a good job. We executed our plan. We tackled well. And Big Sue and Crick and those guys up front, I can't say enough about them. And just happy to come out of here with the win.
So I'll ask the question before the Nebraska media does. Do they get their black shirts now?
I don't know. We'll see, Aaron.
All right. All right. Yeah, thanks. Congratulations, Bo. Yeah.
He's a tough grader, isn't he? But the man named Sue and company stout tonight. Taylor Potts and the Red Raiders. Next obstacle for that Nebraska defense. They get him in Lincoln.
Yeah, you know what? Texas Tech will be an offensive aerial, but they faced the Missouri passing attack well tonight.
Yeah, furious rally in rainy conditions here in Columbia. 27-12, the Huskers win it. Sports Center's coming up next. Steve Levy and Scott Van Pelt. We're over on ESPN News with Post-Game Extra. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Craig, Jesse, and Aaron, and our entire team in Columbia, I'm Chris Fowler. So long for now. Nebraska, furious rally to win it by 15.